Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. The saga continues. We are now roughly about 4 to 5 days out from the first presidential debate, and it's going to lead to a few questions to be asked. And this is in regards to both President Biden and former President Trump. I do believe these are questions that we need to ask ourselves. But number one, we're going to start the program off. You see, the program is titled, Should Biden Be Forced Out? Now, some were talking about the 25th Amendment. I believe in the 25th Amendment, they do cover disabilities. And in this case, we're talking about a potential mental disability. So what I'm going to be asking you folks today, the first question we're going to be discussing is, do you believe the Democrats, or better yet, would America be better off if the powers that be outside of Biden, using any available avenues, were to force Biden to step down? Let's suggest that maybe forcing him to take a cognitive exam, which he likely would not pass by the estimates of many. But do you believe the Democratic Party would be in it, not only in its own best interest, but perhaps in the best interest of the country, to either beg Biden to step down, or if he refuses to do so, use other measures, any other measures that may be available to them, such as we mentioned the 25th Amendment, suggesting that, listen, this guy is out of his mind and he wants to continue serving, even though he does not have the necessary mental capacity to operate in the best interest of this nation. So what I want to ask you folks is, do you believe the Democrats should go around Biden and try to get him out, not only for the sake of the party, but maybe perhaps for the sake of the country? Or is this all BS and Biden is fully capable of doing the job? That's what we're going to be talking about. Perhaps many of you believe that Biden is 100% capable of doing another 4 years in one of the most high pressure positions on the planet. So we're going to discuss that. Also, from another side topic, we often cover two topics. As of July 4th, Independence Day, the state of Louisiana, some might now refer to as the Ten Commandments state, but the state of Louisiana, as of July 4th, has passed a law that after you turn 18, as long as you have no felony convictions, you are able to carry concealed. So all you have to do is reach your 18th birthday, no training, no sort of permit necessary. As of your 18th birthday, you can now purchase a firearm, carry concealed. There is no need for any permit, no need for any training. You just need to reach your 18th birthday. So we're going to certainly talk about that. Obviously, there are no shortage of mass casualty events in this country, most of them being perpetrated by people that are in that crowd, in that age category. Talking about the 18 25 or so. Even if you look in the inner city, the urban crime, most of that's coming from that group too. Most of the folks that are committing heinous acts with firearms is in that age bracket. So what I want to ask you folks is, do you believe that's a good idea to allow an 18-year-old, zero training required, no permit, so you don't know who has and who does not? I think the Second Amendment folks will like that. But what do you think? Do you think an 18-year-old, no permit, no training, you think they're ready for game time? So we're going to discuss those two topics. You know how the program is ran. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone. We are MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one, always have been, always will be. But liberals are welcome as well. I see in the comments, Motion Master said it's just going to raise the D rate. I'm assuming that's the death rate. Wow. Nevertheless, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone, so you don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section, up to and including yours truly. It's all about free speech here, so you don't have to worry about someone trying to censor you or limit your opinion in here, because that is not how we operate. So, looking in the comment section, you do speak a lot better than Biden. Clear. Rainy. Okay, I appreciate the compliment, but I am some 30 years younger than Biden, so I probably should get credit for some of my youth and inexperience, to quote Ronald Reagan. Why are we focused on Biden when Trump's plane was parked next to the Russian embassy plane at Dulles Airport? I got to say the same thing to my beloved QAnon folks. It's a conspiracy. Until I hear more, I mean, Trump is a citizen of the United States right now. We already know he has a favorable relationship with Putin. I think that's no surprise. If he's meeting with Putin in the off season, that kind of sounds like something Trump would do. You can't force him to disclose what he's talking about. I mean, he does have the right to do it. I get the idea that it looks suspicious. I understand that, but I mean, he has had a favorable relationship with Putin for years. Are we going to worry about a plane when they let millions of people into our country? And that's a fair counterpoint. That is a fair counterpoint. But I do believe the plane is something we should be concerned about as well. I think Putin can do more damage than any immigrant, and no matter how big they are. The biggest eye roll ever, says Michelle Bradley. So tap the screen, folks. We will begin taking calls. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 10,550 plus of you in here already. So go into the box. 18 years of age, no training, no permit necessary. You can carry concealed in Louisiana as of July 4th, Independence Day. So understand, if you live in Louisiana, those might not all be fireworks you're hearing on the 4th. Sapper 43CEC. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Sapper. Good afternoon. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So what do you think? No permit, no training. All you have to do is turn 18 and you can carry a weapon concealed. You favor that?
Nope.
Why not?
I think that we'll be heading for dark times when that happens, because an 18-year-old is immature. He does not know the power of a firearm. He knows what it can do, but he does not know the true power of what that thing can really do and how it can change his life forever.
Yeah. So you're suggesting that 18-year-olds are probably not mature enough to have lethal power in their hands?
Nope.
Yeah. Nope. But so how are you going to respond to folks who will inevitably bring up, you let them drive, they can handle knives, so they can already handle lethal devices?
Well, so unless that 18-year-old is trained and show maturity that they can handle that firearm, I would not put it in their hands without a permit, without any training.
Yeah. Now they do. Go ahead.
The reason why I say that was I was in the military.
Okay.
And yes, we do take 17-year-olds and we train them how to use a weapon. However, they are in a controlled environment,
right,
where they are being trained, and they know the dangers of it. Now, once they're finished with their weapons for the day, they don't take it home. It goes and get locked up in the arms room.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people are going to use that argument, but no, I don't think that an 18-year-old should be able to gain access to a weapon openly and have it in the streets.
So what do you think the purpose of a state like Louisiana? What do you think? Why would they do this? Do they not see what you're seeing?
I think what they're doing is in the South, right? People use weapons as a way of living, basically to go hunting, right? So they may have a weapon on them. So maybe an 18-year-old going hunting may need a sidearm just to defend himself against a wild animal. Not not necessarily a rifle. The rifle is used for hunting the animal, but if a wild bear or wild boar come upon them, they got to be able to defend themselves, right?
Yeah. Before you continue with the hunting spiel, I'd be curious to, I mean, obviously you or I probably don't know this. We don't have the numbers offhand, but I'd be curious to know what percentage of 18-year-old Americans regularly go hunting.
In the South and in the mountains of West Virginia, a lot.
A lot of them do. Okay.
A lot of them do.
But the ones that are living in New Orleans or Baton Rouge that are in the city,
they don't have a need for it. Don't have a need for it.
Yeah. So they might be hunting each other.
Might be hunting each other.
Oh. So in regards to our other topic, I just want to ask you, do you believe, because we talk about the 25th Amendment, do you believe that the Democrats, for the good of the country, potentially, should try to use some other avenue to get Biden out of there?
Okay, so do I think that the Democrats should use some other avenues of approach to get him out of there?
If available, yeah. Like, for instance, force him to take a cognitive test, and if he fails, use the 25th Amendment.
No, I think the people, the American people, has that power to do so.
Okay.
If the American people feel that he's not qualified to be president, then they have a voice when they go to the polls.
So what are you saying?
The same thing with Donald Trump. Same thing with Donald Trump.
Wait a minute. You're saying the American people have a voice and they can exercise that at the polls. So if you are a Democrat and you don't believe Biden is capable of running this country, you're saying to go to the polls and do what?
You vote your conscience, you vote whether or not he should be president. That's how he gets in. He's elected.
Right. So if you feel that Biden is incapable, you go to the polls and vote for Trump?
I will go and I will vote my conscience. If Trump is qualified, I'm not saying I'm voting for Trump, and I'm not saying I'm voting for Biden.
Right.
I'm saying as an American citizen, I have the right to voice my opinion at the polls. Okay? So if Trump is a qualified a candidate, yeah, he'll get a vote. If not, he won't. And I'm not speaking for the American people. I'm speaking for myself. Okay? Whoever it is that is qualified to run this country, that's who I'm voting for. That's who's getting my vote.
So let me ask it to you this way then. Do you personally believe Biden is mentally qualified for the job?
I don't think Trump is either.
That ain't what I'm asking you though.
I don't think either one are.
So you believe both of these gentlemen should be disqualified?
I believe the American people should make that decision.
But I'm asking you personally. You said I don't believe either one. Why don't you believe?
I don't believe either one is. But I don't speak for this country.
Right, but
myself.
Yeah, but I'm trying to dialogue with you. I'm not trying to dialogue with the whole country. What I'm asking you is, why don't you think Trump is capable?
I don't think Mr. Trump is qualified to run this country.
Why not?
I don't think he is. Because for one, as an African American, if I was charged with 34 counts of felonies, my behind could not run, could not even vote. I can't even join the military. Okay? Yes. If I'm even charged with 3 felonies, okay, I can't enlist.
Yeah.
Okay?
That is true. True.
I don't think he should be qualified to run this country. He has proven time and time again that he has no character, or he has character, but he has no what's the word I'm looking for? Integrity. He has no integrity. And as a leader of this free nation, you gotta have some integrity.
Right. So let's go. You mentioned the 34 felonies and all of the indictments. Let's go back right before the point where he was indicted with all of this stuff. Would he have been qualified, in your opinion, at that point?
No, because he was a suspect. He was suspect in all these charges. So until you are proven innocent, which he wasn't, until you are proven innocent, you're guilty as charged. You're guilty as charged. Okay.
Where do you do that at? That's not. That's the Constitution says you are innocent until proven guilty. You're doing it the other way around.
Well, guess what? In the African American community, I'm guilty until I'm proven innocent.
All right, I can't argue with that. But I mean, I am, and that's wrong though. Even though that does happen sometimes, that is wrong. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around.
Exactly. However, I don't think Mr. Trump is qualified. Neither do I think Mr. Biden at his age is qualified. Mr. Biden has done a great job for this nation. As long as he's been in politics, being in Senate, being vice president, he has done a great job. I'm not going to take away from him. He's not perfect. He's not perfect by any means. Okay? But at this stage in his life, I think that he needs to
step down
and hand the reins over to someone else.
All right. Well, before I move it on from you, because you said you believe that Biden's done a good job, but he needs to step down. How do you respond to folks who might suggest that Trump has done an even better job during his 4 years in office?
Better job with what? The only thing that I can say that Trump did in his 4 years is he actually opened our eyes to let people realize that, hey, racism is still here and the Ku Klux Klan is still alive.
The Klan? You think Trump? You think Trump has told people that where's he getting that from?
Listen, when that stuff went down in Virginia, and he said that these people are fine people, and he does not denounce them, and they came out the woodworks, and they're more prevalent, and they're more boisterous now. Ever since then, our eyes are open.
Well, it took him some time, but he did denounce white supremacy. He actually did.
He never did.
Yeah, he did. It's on video. It's on video.
No. Mr. Trump has never came on national TV or in the media and say, I denounce racism, I denounce the Ku Klux Klan, or any of that.
Yeah, I gotta vehemently disagree with you. I'm not in my home studio, but I could easily bring up clips. He was slow to do it. He was hammered for taking his time, but he absolutely did do that. I'm telling you, he did it more than once.
He has never done it because guess what? Had he done it, what happened on January 6th would have never taken place.
Well, shit. Wait a minute. I can't even see what your name is down there, Sapper. Just because he denounces white supremacy doesn't mean the white supremacists are going to take his advice. He absolutely did, and he did it a few times because
No. They were there in support of Mr. Trump because he did not denounce them. He endorsed them, and he may have made backdoor deals with them that we don't even know of. That's Trump.
Yeah,
that's what we're dealing with.
I'm not going to disagree with you that Trump says things that can be taken in certain ways, but he certainly denounced it. Like I said, he was slow to do it. I'd invite you to go online. I mean, just type in Trump denounce white supremacy. You should get the videos. I mean, he did it several times. He was taking his time to do it. He was being pressured by the media, but when he came out and did it, he did it several times after that. So
Whoa. You say what now? He was pressured by the media.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna do it. It did not appear he was gonna do it. But what I'm saying is he did ultimately do it.
So he was pressured by the media to do it. If you have 1 ounce of integrity in your blood, you would not have to have the media come out and pressure you to do something. So in other words, he did something that he really didn't feel like doing or he did not want to do. Something that he did not believe in. He did it only because of politics and because he wanted the ratings.
Okay, that's all. Fair enough. You could be right, but that's all speculation. That's just an opinion. I do got to move it on, though, Sapper. If you want, please look that up because he did do it. It took him a while, but he did it. But I do appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome back, man.
All right, my man.
Good talk. All right, moving the program on. We are asking, first of all, should the Democrats rather pursue avenues to maybe almost, I hate to use this term, but force Biden to step down, whether it's the 25th Amendment, pleas to his family, whatever the case may be. Should the Democrats try to take some kind of evasive action to get Biden to step down? Or do you believe that he is capable, albeit it doesn't look that way, but do you believe he might be capable of completing the 4 years? Also, as a side topic, and tap the screen, get the likes up to about 20,000. Helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. Get the likes up to about 30. Otherwise, as Alex Bikes Ham states on YouTube, go back to Africa. Obviously, he's not very knowledgeable that Africa has a bunch of individual countries on it. So you can't just randomly show up on a continent. But nevertheless, folks, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 20,000. Helps out the program, helps out the algorithm, brings everybody in. So looking in the comments, I really don't care. Biden's going to lose anyway, says Bobby Covini. Wow. No chance for Biden. Huh? Wow. Thank you for the money gun, then Cal. Biden stepped from government or election. Well, we're talking about the election. His term is over in early January. That's when the next inauguration would happen. If Biden loses, the next guy would come in early January. So if he steps down from government, then Kamala would finish out his term. But we're talking about the election. I made over 100,000 under Trump, says Ninja. Shit, I didn't, and I would submit to you that the overwhelming majority of the American people did not either. 100,000 in a single year, most Americans did not do that. Certainly under the Trump administration, the Republicans have made it clear they are not in favor of a minimum wage increase. They are not in favor of things like tuition forgiveness and universal health care, which would put money in people's pockets. So I think you might be in the minority on making 100,000. But looking in the comments, looks like the people talking about the Israelis who crucified Jesus are up to their old tricks again. I'm going back to the box. We'll go straight to Miss Mo Betta, one of my subscribers. Good afternoon, Miss Mo Betta. Getting rid of Biden by force. What say you?
Say that one more time.
Getting rid of Biden by force. How do you feel if the Democrats tried to get rid of him by force, suggesting he is not ready for game time anymore, but he refuses to step down? What would you think?
Well, I see things kind of from both sides. Like I said, if I were him, I'd probably ride it till the wheels fall off at this point.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, I did. I ride it till the wheels fall off because aside of his age, what else has he done that was so detrimental to the Democratic Party or even the country? Name some other things that causes so much detriment, because he doesn't have dementia. Just to let everybody know, he doesn't have dementia. Does he have his cognitive skills slowed? Absolutely. That comes along with age. A lot of people in those age brackets, that happens.
Yeah, but do you want somebody that's
doing his job?
Yeah, but do you want the president, the leader of the free world, to literally ride it till the wheels come off, as you say? By the way, if he ride till the wheels fall off, the wheels could come off on a very bumpy Trump highway. You could end up giving it to Trump doing that.
Well, that's true too. That's true, and that's actually that's what they're hoping happens. That he's so old, he's gonna run against Trump. Trump is gonna blow him out. I personally step down. Allow somebody younger in your cabinet to take over, so they do have the energy to go at Trump, to fight against him. Right. I agree. I would say step down. Okay. You know.
But if he does not.
But if he doesn't, he still has a grand chance of beating Trump. Yeah. Simply because he knows what he's doing. He has been qualified this far for his job. He was old when he was voted in the first time. He's been old.
I gotta push back a little bit, Ms. Mobetta. If he knew what he was doing, he would not have showed up to that debate sounding like that.
That was poor of his camp to even allow it to happen.
Yeah, it was very poor.
That really was poor of his camp, knowing that he was sick. But either way, it was going to be a lose-lose situation. Now you'd be fighting that. Oh, he was scared of Trump, and he didn't have. Come on, man. We the type of people in this country. We want everything to go our ways at all times.
Right.
And that's a sad misconception, because it's not going to go that way. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're Republican, progressive, independent, however you choose to lean.
So how do you respond to folks like Erica in the comments that says, no, Biden destroyed the country?
Oh, that's her opinion. And again, you got people up here saying, oh, under Trump, I made X, Y, Z. Half of them people are fucking lying. Show me receipts. Because the mouth to say anything, I can tell you right now, I got $3 million sitting on my lap. That doesn't make it true.
Yeah, because I will say that under Trump brags about creating jobs and a good economy. He does not brag about increasing salary. So I don't know how.
He didn't make shit good. He made sure he set those places up so he know what he had going on. So when he get to this point that he is now with the Supreme Court, he stacked his courts so I can get myself out of trouble. That's what he did.
Well, it does look like the man he's doing really good.
He did. That was the smart part about him. Let me stack this up because I know, but at the end of the day now, he's a criminal. He is a con man. He's been proven for all of those things. And not only the things that has been in court, what about the stuff that he's actually settled out of court that didn't even make it there for raping young people and stuff like that. So let's not act like what Alvin Bragg and stuff had in New York was the only thing he had going on. He had a lot of things going on. I never thought he was qualified for the position, not just now. And then people talking about, why they come up now with the Stormy Daniels is because he just now paying it because he didn't want that to show up in his campaign. Of course it happened years ago, but he didn't start paying until now.
So you see Trump as an outright con man.
He is a total con man. He's all for himself, and he has proven that time and time again. Time and time again, he's proven that.
Well,
it's not something we said, it's stuff that he says. And let's not get to his mouth. And like they said, with his lack of integrity, his lack of morals, and that's why it took him so long to come out and apologize. He ain't really even apologize for anything he said.
74 million votes. If he's as bad as you're suggesting, why the hell are so many folks totally different? They think you're crazy.
You know why? Because those were the 74 million people that were against Obama. They still think Obama is running the country now. Ask a MAGA. Oh, Joe Biden's in the basement. Obama is running this country.
I don't know about that, Ms. Mobetta. I've got a lot of cue that suggests that Trump is the one via the military running the country.
Trump.
I get that a lot.
That's true. No, that's true. I seen the people talking about that too. Oh, he's still my president.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
And as far as that 18-year-olds in Louisiana, I don't know about anybody else, but if I were living in Louisiana, I'd move. That's dangerous.
Yeah, the 18-year-olds being able to carry with no permit, no training, nothing. That's
just gonna open up the door for a lot of unalived people in these streets. I'm sorry.
But how do you respond to somebody who might say, look, at 18, that person should have the right to be able to defend themselves?
Maybe they should, but if they can present the qualifications, yeah. Like you need some type of training. But we know, look at who the lawmakers and stuff are in Louisiana. They don't look like me and you. And I don't want nobody to come to me about the race card because you have to when it comes to certain situations. So they take their kids out in the woods and have them shooting guns at 8 and 9 years old. See, and that doesn't happen with people that look like us because we didn't have that stuff available for us. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. So it takes for us to get this stuff illegally, and then XYZ, whatever. But I still believe they should have proper training and background checks because not for nothing, these school shootings and stuff like that, like you said, are young 18 and 19-year-old kids that went in there that went in these schools with firearms that their parents had purchased for them. that purchased for them and went and unalived a lot of children and teachers and stuff like that. Like, so, no. I don't believe that they should be able to carry a gun.
I question it because, I mean, obviously to maintain a firearm properly, certainly when it comes to shooting, because I'm not a good shot, and I've been to the range several times. I mean, it does require training. Otherwise, you're going to be hitting a lot of innocent targets. However, in the comments, Ike T. Wallace, referring to you, I guess, says she's one of the reasons we are in this mess. I'd be curious to know what mess you're talking about, Ike. Elaborate on your point.
About? Be specific, because I'm ready for him. So tell him to be specific is one of the reasons.
Yeah, you should. You should be ready.
It's one of the reasons why abortion should stay legal.
God. All right, Mr. Mobetta. So you do see what's happening in Louisiana that could be a prelude to another mass casualty event by a legal gun owner.
It's going to be casualties all over the place, and you want them to carry guns, but yet you want to put the 10 Commandments in the schools. Yeah. Like, come on, how is this mixing up?
It's mixing up to be far right. That's what a far right America looks like. I think Louisiana's a perfect example of that.
You.
All right.
I say no, thank you. And listen, when I tell y'all I truly pray for our country, I do, because we really are in a mess, and it's more divided now than it ever has been.
Well, I hate to say it this way. I know my piss a few people off, might even upset you when you say we need to pray for our country. With all due respect, prayer is why we're in this. Religion is why all this stuff is taking place.
Well, see, but let me give you a little something. Religion is a whole difference than praying to God and having a relationship with God Himself. Religion is really what divided a lot of people. You're right on that note. Religion has kept people bound and separated.
Yeah,
that's a religious thing.
If you have a relationship with God, most likely you believe your God is the true God. I mean, that's the way we were brought up. Thou shalt have no other God before me. So all these other folks that have come in the country, they're all prophesizing and worshiping false gods. I mean, it's a mess in my opinion.
That's what religion does. Religion does that. In my religion, it says X, Y, Z. That's how. Not for nothing, a lot of these so-called white Christians of America kept black people so bound for so long, because they claim in the Bible it says nothing wrong with slavery. Actually, it does say that, but you got to keep reading. You're not supposed to treat them like animals and inhumane. You're supposed to treat them as if they were you yourself.
Well, you can't make any money off equality as a slave owner. I got to move it on, though, Mr. Mobetta.
Okay.
Good talk.
We could go all day with this one.
I bet we could.
All day.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Indeed.
All right. Moving the program on. Bayi, says AJ Jackson. Listen, sometimes when folks start bringing out that, I want to say preaching, bringing out that church aspect, some folks don't like it. Kids should be able to handle old card, but it's still, kids should be able to handle the old card, but it's still our Second Amendment, so suck it up because it's not going anywhere, says Freedom Fighter. No, I don't think the Second Amendment is going anywhere. What's going places? Your kids, your children, they're being hauled off, with a blanket over their head, coming home from school that way. You didn't get to pick this one up. That's what's going away is your children. But you are correct. The Second Amendment is not going anywhere. Looking in the comments, 4% of Southerners owned slaves. That is, I thought it was 1%. I know it wasn't many, but what did Martin Luther King say? All it takes for evil to exist is for good men to stand by and do nothing. So only 4% owned them, but the rest of society had no problem turning a blind eye to it. Looking in the comment, what the fuck you mean, blacks, Justin? Okay, I don't know what that is from AJ. Don't believe in God. Where do you get your ethics and values from? How about being a human, Draco? How about being a human? If you are a responsible adult, you don't need somebody to tell you. It's built in you. I'll go back to the box. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 35,000. Over 700 of you in here, folks. Thank you. Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Get the likes up to about 45. We can make that happen. In regards to the 10 Commandments providing us with ethics and morals, or as Draco in the comments says, you don't believe in God. where do you get your ethics and values from? First of all, I do believe in a higher power. I'm just confused as to what the hell it is because I've seen so much awful stuff in this country alone in the name of Christianity. However, I strongly believe having ethics and morals don't have a damn thing to do with religion. Even an atheist knows killing somebody is wrong, adultery, all of those 10 commandments. You don't need to go to church or read the Bible to know that stuff is wrong. You don't need it placed on a play card or, in Louisiana's case, a poster board. You know that by the time you're 2 or 3 years of age. You could put two human beings on an island from birth with no other man intervention, and they would grow up knowing some of that stuff is wrong already. I mean, you don't need the 10 Commandments to learn what's already built in you. All they're doing is kind of reiterating it over and over again, but you already know that. Look at in the comments, though. And by the way, when you look at the 10 Commandments and you look at the American Christian population, tell me we actually have been listening to that shit. In this country, founded on Christianity, as many on the right would suggest, look at the 10 Commandments and you tell me, even from the founding fathers, the way the country began in the very beginning, you tell me Americans ever set out to follow that shit. Ever. From day one. Whether it's the Native Americans, whether it is their own wives with adultery, whether it is African American, you name it. Tell me that they ever intended to follow the 10 Commandments. Or, as a capitalist country, were they more focused on making money as opposed to adhering to the teachings of God? You tell me. Look it in the comments. Trump is beating Dementia Joe in every swing state. I do see a lot of polls suggesting that. Going back, but remember, the polls suggested a red wave. The polls suggested Hillary Clinton was going to beat Trump by a landslide. The polls do get it wrong. Dencal, appreciate you holding on. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Dencal.
What's up, Tim?
Not much. Good to have you on. 18 years of age, no training, no permit. You can own a gun. What say you?
Hey, it's like the old saying, you get what you pay for. If you're just gonna allow just any and everybody to carry weapons with no training or without, they say your brain isn't even fully formed until you get 25.
I've heard that.
And, first thing people say is, oh, well, they let military people were trained how to use these weapons.
Yeah, the military is because I always say, well, you can go join it. You can be forced to join the draft and all of this stuff. In my opinion, I agree with you. It's a bad argument because the military does not just hand out firearms with no training. I mean, even when you're trained, they still keep track of where your weapons are. They don't just let you roam around with a gun on you. So I think it's a real bad comparison.
Right. And they even in the military, they count every last bullet. It's not like when you get in the military, they just hand you a weapon and it's yours. It's a tool for the craft that that you're doing. So that's very bad comparison.
So do you see this as any possibility of leading to more mass casualty events?
It's obvious. I mean, it's like the more if you give a person a car, they're gonna drive regardless of the risk. Yeah. So if you give people more guns, they're gonna carry. They're gonna be put in situations, and of course they're gonna be used. That's just like human behavior.
Yeah, I do agree that just like the more cars you put in society, the statistical probability of accidents are going to go up. I mean, for every car, there is a accident representation. Okay, let's say society has 1,000 cars in it, and there's a number you can come up with. Well, if you put 1,000 cars in society, every year there may be 2 accidents. If you multiply the number of cars times 10, you're going to get the same on the end. So the more guns you put in society, the more you're going to have people getting shot. I mean, that's just statistics.
Right. And, it's curious to me because the Republicans are putting out contradictory positions. One, they say, hey, everybody should have a gun, it'll make us safer. And then on the other side, they're saying mental health is the cause of all of these killings. Well, so while they attempt to broaden and let more and more people carry guns, while at the same time saying the mental health is causing these problems, what are they actually accomplishing? What are they doing?
Yeah, and that's interesting you bring that up because I haven't heard Louisiana, now that they're going to have more gun owners roaming around, I haven't heard them say anything where they're going to add to availability or assistance with mental health. They haven't done anything for that. Even though, as you point out, that's what they believe the problem is.
Yeah, not one thing to mitigate that they know is coming. Yeah. They just want to say, hey, the Constitution, it says I can have a gun. They're not looking at it.
And I will say, just to interrupt you real quick, user the comment says, where y'all get all this fucked up information? Well, it's pretty easy to research the law that Louisiana passed as of July 4th. As long as you're not convicted of a felony. Now, I'm using the word convicted because it doesn't say if you're charged with something felonious. As long as you don't have a actual felony conviction and you're 18, you can carry concealed, no permit, no training required. Where do I get all this information from? It's pretty easy to research it. So, but at the end of the day, I'm with you, Dencal. A lot of, when we're that age, particularly with males, testosterone, road rage accidents, people pull guns and get in fights quicker.
Right. I know because I'm a concealed carrier myself. And the fact is, it does give you a false sense of masculinity. I'm just going to be honest with you. It does. Because you walk around and you tell yourself, I wish somebody would.
I always use Kyle Rittenhouse and George Zimmerman for those examples because I do believe both of them men, and look, it was self-defense according to the courts. I'm not here to argue that, but both of them men behaved in a way they would not have behaved if they didn't have a gun.
Right. He's running around in the middle of a protest turn riot with an AR-15 as a kid.
Yeah.
You think he wasn't feeling like he was invincible out there with that gun?
Yeah. I mean, and that's not just, you coming from a racial aspect. I agree with you 100%. Gun ownership does make people feel like, they got some kind of superpowers. I mean, there's some cops that feel that way too. But I mean, having lethal force on you does go to some people's head. Everybody ain't cut out for that.
Right. So using their logic, now that there's more guns on the street, that means that crime should go down statistically. Is that correct?
Yeah, the armed society is the polite society theory. Good luck with that.
I'm just saying these are the positions they're taking.
Yeah,
that more guns mean people are going to be safer. So that means it's going to be less crime, and we should be able to see that in crime statistics. We won't, and they won't never bring that up in a conversation.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I've heard that from a lot of folks on the right, a lot of my Second Amendment folks who do believe an armed society is a polite society. But in reality, the most polite societies on earth are generally countries that there are not a lot of firearms there. The heavily armed countries are anything but polite.
Right. A country that believes that, you got to have the biggest weapon to be peaceful is like an oxymoron.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what ends up happening. I'm with you. I would be at least require training. To just hand somebody a gun with no training. The idea of what do they call it? Casualties. I don't see where it makes sense. I just don't. But before I move it on from you, kicking Biden out by force. You think that would be a good idea for the Democrats to do?
No, I mean, pretty much the Supreme Court solidified it. They couldn't. He's a semi-king right now. Actually, they don't realize it.
King Biden.
The Supreme Court said that any conversations he has with anybody, pretty much in the executive branch, is protected. Yeah. So he can literally tell somebody,
that's terrible. Yeah,
I believe that Trump is a threat to society. So therefore, any way we take him out he's going to be immune from it. That's what the Supreme Court said. People don't look into the nuances of what they said.
Yeah, that's terrible because let's say Biden was actually working with Kamala behind the scenes talking about dictatorship or something like that. And Kamala was like, there's no way I want to go against the Constitution. And she went and reported Biden. According to the Supreme Court, the conversation can't even come out.
They can't even.
It's insane.
They can't even if it did come out, no
can't be used against them.
They can't consider what they even talked about.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Unfortunately for liberals and myself, I'm a self-proclaimed. I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal, but unfortunately for us, we got somebody that's freaking honest, and he won't do that.
Well, they're going to bring up Burisma and his son and say he's not honest, though. But that, to me, that ruling is insane. That because how can you be a whistleblower if the president tells you something or tells you to do something, you know it is 100% illegal, but he can now have the immunity for anything he said in the course of his duties, so you can't even hold him accountable for what he told you. I mean, it literally eliminates whistleblowers.
Right. And I got just a little food for thought before you go.
Sure.
The right is saying, "Oh my goodness, it's the Biden crime family, and they're so corrupt and all of that stuff." If he were corrupt, like they said, he would use those laws to his advantage.
Yep, this would have got him off.
So they can just think about that when they keep calling him corrupt and talking about he's got these fake offshore accounts and all that kind of stuff, and saying him and his son was in cahoots and all that. If he was a criminal like that, and now he has heard from the Supreme Court, there is no way he would have went out there yesterday and said their rulings were wrong. Right. He would have gave them a thumbs up and started planning how he's going to stay in the office.
Yeah, I will say, if Trump does not win in November, there's going to come a day when the right is not going to like what just happened with the Supreme Court. They're not going to like it because as you point out, when it's used in the other direction, all of a sudden we know for a fact he told the attorney general or he told somebody else in his cabinet something illegal, and that person is screaming from the heavens, yes, he did tell me this, but because of this ruling, it can't come out. There will come a day when they're not going to like them. I got to move it on, though, Cal. Appreciate you coming through. All right?
All right.
Thank you. And in the comments, it says, non-exempt workers? Yeah, but what if the person is not one of the, like I said, what if he told Kamala something? Listen, I have been using all sorts of stimulants because, the doctor really says I'm not supposed to be doing this. But I'm taking some of these drugs to keep me going. Doctor says I can only do this for about a year or so. I mean, what if Kamala wanted to come forward and tell the truth that Biden was doing something that was wrong? Well, now, even if she did, it can't be used against him, thanks to the Supreme Court. I think that was a really, really bad ruling. The belief is what Trump is going through is bullshit. It's a witch hunt. I get it. But passing laws or coming back with rulings to defend Trump that could cause all kinds of mayhem down the line, I think some folks are going to realize this coming, in the future. Like maybe this wasn't the right way to go with this. We'll see what happens though. Looking in the comments, Leanne Gent says Kamala wouldn't come forward anyway. Well, fair enough. Maybe she wouldn't come forward, but you get the damn point I'm making. Is that anybody that comes forward now on a president no longer has any strong standing. No one can come forward at this point because the president has immunity. That's the point we're trying to make. If you want to badge Kamala, fair enough. You don't understand what the ruling actually means, says Craig Halpin. I saw a actual judge herself, Sotomayor, state that if Trump ordered SEAL Team 6 to take out his opposition, he would have immunity. I'm assuming you think she don't know anything about it too, right? I'm assuming you have more knowledge than one of the actual people that made the ruling. I'm assuming you know more than everybody. Okay. All right. Going back to the box. By the way, tap the screen. get the likes on up to about 45. We can certainly make that happen. 700 of you in here. Using the DOJ as a political weapon is down the road also. Yeah, why not? I mean, we really are leaving it up to the honor system. I mean, this is a case where your neighbor doesn't lock their door and you could literally go in the house and rob them blind. It is strictly on the honor system at this point, because now every president will know that this is there. The idea that no one will ever use this for evil, I think is insane. Hopefully in the future, we get enough of a bipartisan group of people that passes a law that takes this away from what the Supreme Court did. And I said this before, I think we're going to get several bipartisan laws simply because Trump pushed the damn envelope so far. I think I said at least four bipartisan laws from both the Republicans and Democrats once Trump is out of the picture. I also believe Biden, with his mental state, it wouldn't surprise me if they also passed an anti-Biden law in regards to now requiring a presidential candidate to take a cognitive exam every so often. Just like once you get to be a certain age, you got to take a driver's test. I think once you get into senior citizen years, it can get to be as much as once every year. Show us you can still drive, like you're getting old. So I do believe that they need to, that's something that they need to examine. Going back to the box, but in Trump's case, 4 different laws I think they're going to pass because of how far he pushed the envelope. Moo the Tuxedo Cat. Good afternoon, Moo. Welcome to the program.
What's up, man?
Hey.
What's up, man? What's going on?
25th Amendment on Biden. What say you?
Yeah. So you already know that I've been calling for Biden to drop out for a very, very long time. And I'm getting real tired of being gaslit by both parties at this point. I'm tired of red MAGA. I'm tired of blue MAGA. I have them telling me things like, it was just one debate performance. So do you guys know who David Axelrod is? Tim,
Yep.
Do you know who David Axelrod
Yep.
is? Okay, so about 4 or 5 months ago, David Axelrod, the chief strategist of Obama and
Was it Bush?
Joe Biden, the vice president, the chief strategist for the Obama-Biden campaign, said that Joe Biden should drop out. Now, explain this to me, Blue MAGA. If it's only one debate performance,
Blue MAGA.
why is David Axelrod 3-4 months ago saying on Twitter publicly that Joe Biden should drop out? And another thing, do you think that with the way the rank and file of the Democrat Party works, do you think that David Axelrod would come out and say that without talking to Obama first? The answer is no.
Well, I will tell you this. You make an interesting point when you say blue MAGA, because I got to agree with you to some degree, certainly with the case you made that the Democrats are acting like MAGA, because MAGA doesn't give a damn what Trump's administration say about him.
Yeah.
There is not one member of Trump's administration that really supports him. And they're like, who gives a damn? Now the Democrats are doing it.
Look at Blue MAGA, bro. They say I'm scared. You should be scared of Kamala, Blue MAGA, because she has a lower approval rating than Joe Biden. So if your game plan is to rely on a person who's going to poll lower than Biden, you're dumber than I thought. You're all dumber than I thought.
Well,
have you guys ever actually heard Kamala Harris ever make a speech without a teleprompter? Have you guys ever heard that?
Well, she doesn't.
It's a disaster. And this is the person you want to put. So when democracy's on the line, you want to now prop up a person with lower polling points than Biden. Y'all are the dumbest fucking people I've ever heard in my life.
Let me say this, because what you say has strong conviction. You got a lot of folks maybe cheering you on, but you also believe AOC would make a good president.
Yeah, she would, my dude, because she has good policies. She's smart. She knows what she's talking about. And she was a bartender that became a congresswoman. What a goddamn accomplishment. She is the American dream, my dude. She's someone who came from nothing and made themselves into a congresswoman with no corporate help. None. Zero. Zilch.
I think right now, at least this far in the game, AOC for president is a real long shot. I think Kamala would have a better chance.
Andy Bashir out of Kentucky, a Democrat who won the governorship in Kentucky 2 fucking times, Democrats. So let's put up Kamala, a person with lower polling points than Biden who can't fucking speak in public. But let's ignore the guy in Kentucky who won in a red district 2 fucking times. Y'all are the dumbest people on earth.
I disagree with the notion that Kamala can't speak in public. I mean, I've seen her speak live. I've met her. She sounds all right, man. I mean, she got the cackle and all of that, but she's not that bad.
I said, have you ever seen her without a teleprompter?
Yeah, she was right in front of me.
Okay. Okay, if you think that's good, my dude, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I would beg to differ. The place and time is a time period of time, and we need to make good on this time. And bro, she can't fucking talk.
Okay, you ain't never heard AOC. You say she can't talk, and you're bringing up things she stumbled. You telling me AOC has never said anything wild and crazy like that?
When she says something wild and crazy, the only reason this country believes it's wild and crazy. So AOC has never said anything wild or crazy. Every single one of her policies is absolutely reasonable. The reason people think it's wild and crazy is because this country has been trapped by capitalism since its fucking existence. And any policy that actually is good for the middle class, you all consider to be radical at this point. None of her policies are radical. And plenty of other countries have already implemented many of the policies that she advocates for. So when you say these things, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't counter you on if AOC said anything crazy right now because I'm not in front of anything to do my research, but I'm pretty sure she said some wild shit. But I can't, I got to let you win right now.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. When we talk tomorrow, I'm sure I can point out things that maybe she spoke on guns and didn't know what she was talking about. I'm sure I can find wild and crazy things that AOC said.
Bro, every time you look at her when she's questioning people in Congress, she's like one of the only ones with good questions for people. She's like part of the reason that Trump was even on trial in New York, right? If AOC hadn't asked her questions of Michael Cohen about the taxes and the money and the covered up stories, Trump wouldn't have gotten convicted on 34 felonies. AOC is literally responsible for getting Trump convicted. She's a fucking genius, bro.
A genius. And there are other folks like Mark Connor on YouTube that obviously agrees with you. He said $1,000. Tim can't find one crazy thing that AOC said.
Yeah,
really?
I'll bet you $2K that she can't, because she doesn't speak crazy, my dude. She is a progressive. She advocates for Medicare for all, clean water, food. She thinks that housing should be a right. None of that's fucking crazy if you look at how many homeless people are all over the country, which Biden hasn't fixed, and Trump won't fix it either.
Housing should be a right?
What is it?
You said housing?
Yes. Yeah, you should be entitled to food, clothing, and shelter, and education. Those should all be rights in the Constitution.
What the hell? Somebody trying to go after you for this, man? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, they don't like it when I tell the truth.
Yeah, but I'm curious about it. Looking at AOC, you certainly got me very curious, because the idea that she never said anything crazy. I think housing being a right kind of qualifies as crazy in my opinion. I would love it.
I think it's crazy that you think it's okay that we have millions of homeless people all over the country, that private equities are buying up all of our houses, so the reason Biden wants to build more housing, right, is so that he can feed the private equities that donate to his campaign, because the new houses being built aren't going to private citizens. They're going to equities. Equities are buying up all your houses, raising the prices, and you have nothing left to buy for regular Americans. Trump isn't going to fix that. Biden isn't going to fix that.
Why would I get up? But Moo, why would I even go to work if all of that stuff was a right that you just named?
You're not going to have to go to work in like another 30 to 50 years, my dude. There's not going to be any fucking jobs left. I wouldn't worry about that if I was you. I'd worry more about universal basic income and having a fucking roof over your head.
But I'm still asking that question. I get your point, but I'm saying...
You can ask the question.
If housing and medical...
In 30 years or so, there's not going to be any more work.
I hear that, but I'm simply asking you right now, not 30 years in the future, if housing and food and all this stuff was a right, why would I get up and go to work in the morning?
So why did the caveman invent fire? Did he invent fire because he needed money, or did money exist at that time? The caveman invented fire because people are inherently motivated to create and do, and it's based on necessity and need and creativity. The caveman wasn't building fire for a house. He didn't invent fire to get money. He did it because he needed fire, and that's why he invented it. People are innately creative. People will innately do things without having to be motivated by fucking cash.
So then everybody wants to know the obvious question: where's the money going to come from to cover all of these birthrights you're talking about?
Where does the money come from? Okay, where did the $30 billion for Israel come from?
People who go to work and earn it. You made it sound, but you're in your society, there's no reason to go to work and earn it. Where's any of the tax money going to come from? When half of the population...
So the government prints all the money they have, right? It's not even backed by gold anymore. The money we have out there isn't backed by anything. It's not coming from you. The Fed prints all of your money, and they've been doing so for a very long time. And they will continue to print money whether you work for it or not.
And this is
that's what they do.
Is AOC promoting the same America you're talking about right now that you refer to as a genius idea?
A genius idea? So
you said AOC is a genius.
You're advocating that housing for everybody isn't a genius idea. Like, so it's great that we have homeless people everywhere.
No, but I don't think, no.
They're doing drugs outside of people's houses. But yeah, you're right. No, this housing for everybody thing, that's way far out.
I don't think it's feasible.
Homeless, dude.
Moo, I don't think it's feasible.
You don't think so? Okay, well, you know what? People like you make it infeasible because you don't want to try, right? You just want to keep everything status quo. Let the people be homeless. Don't try anything new. Don't do any new programs for anybody. Don't even attempt to give it a shot because it's infeasible. We just can't do it. Good attitude. That's the American way right there. You know what, guys? Let's not bother to help anybody because I don't think it's feasible, guys. Let's not help anyone.
I'm fine with the healthcare part of it, but you get a whole house. Housing is...
What kind of house do you think I'm advocating for? Do you think I'm saying everybody should get a fucking mansion?
I mean, even if it's a dorm room.
Bro, I'm talking about basic needs, right? A shower, maybe a little living room, a kitchen with some food in it. Basic housing, my dude. I'm not talking about giving everybody a goddamn mansion.
Yeah, I see it.
So let's not worry about it.
Listen, you and I are generally on the same side. I think this is where the difference between you being farther to the left. I see Gabe in the comments is saying he is making me a Republican. That's what Gabe has said. You're making him into a Republican.
That's fine. You guys made me independent, so I guess we're even, right? So there it is. So, you know, if you don't try anything new, right, which we haven't done for like 50 years now, you have rising fascism, you have a massive homeless problem, you have a massive fentanyl problem, you have a gun problem, you have a mental health problem, but keep telling me the things that I want to do are infeasible. Keep on riding down that road you're riding on. You'll have a fascist government, you'll have homeless people fucking everywhere, everybody will be hooked on fentanyl, and you guys can keep on going saying everything's infeasible.
Let me ask you this question. Is there any other nation on earth that lives the way that they function the way you're suggesting, where housing and all this stuff is right?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head, man, but wouldn't you like to be the first? Isn't that so? What happened to innovation in America? What happened to trying to be the first ones to do something good for the people, right? What happened to America setting the standard for the rest of the world instead of us having to emulate everybody else? How about we stop spending money on wars and subsidies for corporations with billions of dollars and we try something new for a change? Or you can keep on doing the exact same things you've been doing for the past 50 years, and you can keep getting the same results. Keep telling me all of it's infeasible. Your children are dying in schools. There are mental health issues all over the country.
I don't think I think we agree on more than we disagree on. I just think, as you say, you're a progressive. I'm more.
This guy doesn't work or doesn't want to. So I work for the state of New Jersey as a system engineer, and I've been working here for 10 years, folks.
All right, Moon. You're always free to speak your mind here any day, anytime. We obviously don't agree. Who gives a damn? Appreciate you coming through.
Hey, it is what it is, man. Have a good one.
You too. Entitled to housing food, healthcare. Listen, at the end of the day, while I may be disagreeing with my last guest, as a struggling American, like a lot of you folks are, just a struggling black man, I would love to live in a society like that. It would make my life a hell of a lot easier. However, if I was among the 1%, I would be against that completely. And I don't mind being generous, but that's powerful. That's an interesting concept. And the only reason why we got into that conversation is because he was talking about how phenomenal AOC is. And I think that the agenda he's suggesting is probably why a lot of folks do not favor her if she is saying the same thing. But, maybe I'm wrong. A lot of folks in the comments also agree with him too, though. Also, you're struggling because of corporations, not presidents. Amy Rober, partially true. Absolutely, life in America is harder because of greedy corporations. But the corporations could not do what they're doing without the assistance of the politicians. If you got rid of the politicians, you'd have corporations dumping waste anywhere. If they could make money by, let's say taking out a bald eagle and selling the parts, they take them all out. Animals would go extinct. You need the government to keep corporations in place, which is why I personally, this is the left side of me coming out, I'm not a fan of less regulation because corporations are going to take advantage of that. We have a history in this country when there was no regulation. And when you look at how the corporations behaved during that time, it was atrocious. So every regulation you get rid of, expect negativity to fill in the blanks. Look it in the comments, though. Tap the screen. And I see Henry the weed, what does it say? I want to say weed man says humans always do. That's true. Regulation cost and drive up prices, though. At some point, this is what Moo was rightfully pushing. At some point, chasing the dollar has negatives to it. I mean, yeah, it's going to cost more money to require a toxic corporation. Let's say a corporation that has toxic chemicals. It's going to cost more money to force them to properly dispose of their waste. It's going to cost that company more money. They're going to pass that down to the consumers of their products. You can save everybody money by just letting them dump it in the nearest alley. Yes, it's going to cost more money. But don't you want to live a little bit longer than maybe dying at 20 and saying I made more money? At some point, you got to put a hierarchy of some things like life and happiness over making money. Every regulation that exists, it came for a reason. Somebody was exploiting it. I mean, the FDA can show you a laundry list of people who deliberately were selling poison and masking it as cures and beneficial to you. They were telling you tobacco was good for you. Without regulation, you still be told that. They would actually be soliciting tobacco to your damn kids without regulation. That's what they were doing when we didn't have regulation. Without regulation, everybody's chasing the dollar and letting everything else go. Going back to the box, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 60,000 likes. Certainly can make that happen. Asking if the liberals should potentially consider the 25th Amendment or some other avenue to get Biden to either step down or shove him aside. As bad as that sounds, shove him aside. I think this is Walter White. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing good. So what do you think? Getting Biden out, possibly by force?
I think it's a terrible idea. I mean, ever since that debate, my first reaction was, this guy got to go. And then the next day he had a better day. And, I'm up and down. One day I feel like he really has to go. And, next day the thing for me is that the possibility of Trump and his white nationalist, agenda moving forward, I'd rather just weaken the Bernies with Biden than to see that to come to fruition. Kamala, I have no issues with. I don't think she's a very inspiring person, However, like
now,
I said, you
said you believe Trump has a white nationalist agenda?
said,
Yeah, you said you believe Trump has a white nationalist agenda?
I, 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 Yeah.
Now I can't. I think I see a little picture. You are white? Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm white.
So it would benefit you, though, wouldn't it?
Well, look, man, I've got my wife's Asian. I've got gay kids. Like, there's a lot more to this than just white people. People who look like me. Nothing's going to change for me. But immigrants, people of color, gay, the LGBT community. There's a lot on the line.
So when you say Trump has a white nationalist agenda, I want you to elaborate on it. What do you mean? What's making you say something like that? And by the way, folks, 60,000 likes. I really need you guys to show the program some love. Let your thumbs not be lazy. You guys are slow on the participation, keeping the numbers down, but tap the screen. Why do you say Trump has a white nationalist agenda? What is he doing to make you say something like that?
Well, Stephen Miller is a white nationalist. He has very close ties to the white nationalist movement. He's had dinner with one of their key leaders. He is a white nationalist. I firmly believe that we talked another time about how he wanted to pit black contestants against white contestants on The Apprentice.
Come on now, you really take putting whites against blacks on the Apprentice. I mean, because they do that on Family Feud. Steve Harvey has a white family and a black family. That happens on the Family Feud.
Well, that's not the whole premise of the show. Is not whites versus blacks. I mean, that just happened.
Right.
Whatever. You have a black family and a white family. That's just part of the deal. But I'm just saying it's part of a long history of racism that Trump has. Long history.
So you see Trump as a racist himself?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Examples?
Well, I mean, Central Park 5, still to this day will not apologize for that. His company redlining out, people of color, people are good people on both sides, Charlottesville. I mean, you name it. There's also a lot of people who worked on The Apprentice that said he used the N-word regularly.
Wow. Yeah, I know Tom Arnold, Roseanne husband's former husband, said he heard him use the N-word. I mean, until they prove it, but I don't, something at this point, just like you mentioned, you'd vote for Biden weekend at Bernie's. If Trump actually was caught on video or on tape using the N-word, I don't think that would matter either.
I don't either. I don't think so. I mean, the strong MAGA people have said they don't really care about his personality. They just like him. I don't know what the hell that means, but there's nothing this man can do clearly that they would dissuade the support for him. So,
the belief is that Trump's direction for America was so beneficial to us that he might be an asshole as a person, or has some character flaws, but compared to Biden, what they're paying at the pump, wars breaking out, they believe Trump is a much better leader.
Yes, that's exactly what I believe as well. So. But going back to the Kamala Harris, I mean, if they were to sub it out, I had this discussion with my dad the other night, and I think it's a maybe even trade, but probably not. I think Biden could get more support. I think people are just committed at this point. And if we have another debate and he does well, he's back in it. As far as I'm concerned, if he does what he did the first one, it's over. And I guarantee you, his people or the Democratic committee are putting together a plan for that.
Let me ask you this: what if Biden came out there for the second debate? September 10th is that day on ABC. What if he came out there again and he sucked again? Would you consider voting for Trump?
Oh no, there's no way I would ever vote for Trump.
So even if Biden sounded as bad as he did on June 27th, if he came out there on September 10th and sounded like that again, you still would vote for him?
Sadly, yes.
All right. So then if that's the case, because you said if he sounds bad again, he's done, I think most people that are supporting Biden have the same mindset as you. So even if Biden comes out there again and sounds awful, I still think those folks are going to vote for him.
It could be. I find myself more to the left, and I think there's a lot of independents out there, and that's what I'm worried about. You've got your hardcore left, you've got your hardcore right, and then there's a big group in the middle And those people may not like Trump, but if he looks that bad, I don't think he's going to get the swing independence.
Yeah. Wow. So a white nationalist, man. You think he got stuff? You think he has negativity in store for the LGBT? I know I heard you say your son or your daughter was LGBT.
Right. Yeah.
And you believe he's going to target that community as well?
I wouldn't say target, but basically progressives have been progressing where people who have been marginalized traditionally have more equal rights. That's what they want to roll back. When they say make America great again, they mean back to when white people were dominant in every field, and in society. That's what MAGA means. Yeah. And that's what they want.
Yeah, from day one, people were accusing the slogan of meaning what you just said, and I've talked to MAGA over the last 3 or 4 years that was disagreeing with it the whole time, but there's no denying, looking around us now, things are being rolled back to that time, such as forcing children to learn about the Bible. Obviously, we've seen what happened with abortion, right? So, I mean, there is part of the Republican MAGA movement that is taking the country back. Now, MAGA actually believes that's a better time, fair enough, but it is clear we are going backwards in some areas. So, based on what I'm seeing, I got to say what you're saying, there's no way I could totally deny what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it's always this misinformation that they're talking about. With the gay community is like, oh, they're grooming, and they make up this misinformation to support these regressive policies. So that's why you're seeing this big uptick in particularly the South with all of those those laws about the Bible and the 10 Commandments and all of that.
Yeah, but if you're going to look at LGBT in schools and around children and say that is grooming children or shoving your lifestyle down their throats, but then you're okay with putting the Bible in schools and the 10 Commandments on walls as if that ain't grooming them to be Christian? I mean, it's the same thing. You just favor one and you don't like the other one. It's clearly they're grooming children to be Christian.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that far right has gotten so far to the right. It's people like me who used to be very independent, middle of the road, have had to go more left because of that reaction.
All right. And I think you're not the only one, but Mr. Walter, I do got to move it on. Appreciate you coming through as always. Thank you. And I want to respond to a comment in there. Someone said it's not grooming. It's accepts into society. What does that mean? It is grooming. Society just is acceptable of the grooming. If that's what you're trying to say, it is grooming. To force to be telling children, thou shalt have no other God before this one, when they don't even know who God is yet, yeah, you are grooming them. You're grooming them to become Christians. And that's the goal. You're just okay with it. You're not okay with the LGBT stuff. And thank you, Guess What, for the support and the super chat on YouTube. Thank you, Guess What. Look in the comments before we do move it back on. And that's why I said, because we heard for, CRT in schools, which I haven't seen schools teaching CRT, but that was the big argument. DEI, diversion, equity, and inclusion, that was another one. This stuff in schools, and certainly LGBT issues and pronouns. I don't want things being shoved down my child's throat at schools. But now that we see with religion, the Bible and commandments, and the right is not making an outcry over it, it's actually showing that you actually are okay with things being shoved down the throat of a child. It's just when it's something you agree with, which in my humble opinion makes it clear that it wasn't about shoving things down kids' throats. It was just an anti-LGBT play. Actually, I'm just going to use the shoving things down my kids' throats when we just really don't like those people. But it's not really appropriate to say that, so we'll say don't shove things down our kids' throats. But the moment Christianity was able to be shoved down kids' throats, suddenly it was okay. I mean, I'm okay with the suggestion you shouldn't shove things down kids' throats. But that has to apply to every damn thing. It can't be okay when you agree with it. And that's what seems to be happening. I don't want it as an adult either, says Tammy. I believe in this. If you're going to suggest, and I'll go to the box, by the way, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 70,000. We can certainly make that happen. If you're going to suggest things like pronouns, how you identify, woman or man, how you feel sex, a child should be able to wait till they're 18 to make that decision. It shouldn't be forced upon them. That was the argument. Why don't the child get to be 18 before they decide what God they want to worship? I mean, I've been to church as a child, and me and my friends, none of us wanted to be there. We were all being forced. I would tell you that if you go to any church and look around at the crowd that's under 12, it should be pretty clear they don't want to be there. Their parents are telling them to sit down and shut the hell up. They want to run and play. So if it's okay to tell a child you should be allowed to wait till you're an adult to choose your sexuality, why doesn't that apply to them deciding when they want to choose their God? Now all of a sudden it's okay to force it on them. That's all I'm saying. Look it in the comments. Only the bad churches, good ones let kids play. I'm just simply putting it like this. If the children had their own ability to make a choice, most of them would not go to church. There would not be a lot of kids in church. If the parent was on their way to church on Sunday morning, they asked the kid, do you want to go or do you want to stay home and watch cartoons? When we came up, cartoons was on. We would have damn sure chose to stay home and watch cartoons or play with our toys than to go to church. So just pointing that out. I hate getting dressed for church. And that's another one. So going back to the box, moving the program on with Stephen Bell. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Stephen. 18 years of age, no permit, no training. You can carry a gun concealed. Think that is a good thing for society or otherwise? State your case. Stephen Bell, look like the box is being problematic. We'll give it a second. There wouldn't be a lot of kids in math class either if they had the choice. True, but I do believe you need math. I got a damn truck beside me. I do believe you need math in society to be a functioning member of society. You don't need Christianity. You don't need, the Muslim religion or the Hindu religion or Jehovah. I mean, you can be a functioning member of society with no religion at all. That is not a necessity by any means at all. It's not a necessity. So I don't put religion in the same category as math. And by the way, states like, what is it, Oklahoma, the one that passed a law where they got to actually teach the Bible in classes now. So that actually means they have put it in the same category as math, meaning that you can't graduate or you can't move on to the next grade if you don't pass Bible class. It's part of the curriculum now. If you don't pass, I suppose, questions about chapters and things like that in the Bible, do they hold you back at the end of the year? I mean, it's insane. I don't see the necessity of it. Hell, even some of the things we did take, you mentioned math class. I don't think I really need trigonometry. I had it in high school, but yeah, I don't believe that the Bible should be forced upon kids. And I see somebody say, that's a great point, 4358, hell of a name, but says, math is a universal language. That is an excellent point. Excellent point. The Bible is not. Looking in the comments, you Trump supporters want a good life, get a job. LGBTQIA socialism doctrines and imposes its execrable agenda on schools and universities. So does capitalism. I don't get what do you mean? LGBT, I don't think every school is dealing with an LGBTQ doctrine. In fact, I would suggest that 99% of them are not. Certainly, you get your ass down in rural Alabama, rural Mississippi, you barely can even be gay roaming around down there. They certainly ain't promoting that in schools. Hands, you have nothing to say about new Epstein docs. Come on, man. I don't know what I want. I don't know where to go with the Epstein stuff. Continuing on with the program with one of my subscribers, Top Dog. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Top Dog. You think 18 years of age, no training, no permit, but you can own a gun. You think that's a good idea, Top Dog? Right then, your signal went down. Top Dog, are you there? Okay, apparently he's either waiting or not, so we will move the program on to Drew Curtis. Good afternoon, Drew. Welcome to the program. Box is always problematic. Drew, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. 18 years of age, no training, no permit, but you can be armed and carry concealed. Sounds like a good idea?
Hell no. Hell no.
Why not?
The same people that are saying that that's a good idea are the ones that are complaining about people coming across the border and they don't know who they are. But they're willing to give people a gun that they have no idea, they haven't been vetted, they haven't been background checked at all. And like you said earlier, it's the target demographic of people that are committing the most crimes.
That is an excellent point, is that you're complaining about people that come across the border that hasn't been vetted, and you're going to give this individual a firearm when they don't have any trainer. I mean, they haven't been vetted. Show me you know how to use a gun, and they have not been vetted. That is an excellent point. And then he drops out. Can you hear me?
No, I'm here.
Yeah, you're going in and out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So, do you believe this could lead to more casualties?
Oh, absolutely. And if you look at the stats, it shows that these red states that have the more lenient gun laws to begin with have more gun-related injuries and deaths. I mean, it's not just happening in Chicago. The problem is that the right is way better at messaging than the left. I mean, it all boils down to that. I mean,
so you believe there are more? You said there are more gun deaths in red states
per capita. Yeah,
wow.
Per capita, absolutely.
I wasn't aware of that. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, overall, obviously, it's going to be blue states because there's
more
California
people.
and New
There's
York
more people
that have higher population.
Yeah, there's more people. We stop
Per
that.
capita, it's happening in every red state has lower education, they have higher violence, they have lower income. All of the red states basically suck, but they message well. And so they make you think that they're good. Like, oh yeah, come down to Florida or Texas, we're a free state, and you know, you're not paying taxes and you can own a gun and all this stuff, but they're not telling you all the little details of the bullshit that happens down there because of it.
Yeah, I have not heard that though. There's more gun deaths in red states per capita, but it is worthy of looking at because we know there's a lot of cities in red states that are violent as hell, like St. Louis and Memphis. They just point out, well, yeah, it's in a red state, but it's a Democratic run city. And my response is always the same. Anytime you put a large, diverse group of people together, they're not going to vote Republican. Republican Party has a big problem with diversity. So I don't think you'll ever get a big city that has Republican leadership. I mean, you get it, but it's not that common. I think out of the top 50 cities, only 9 of them have Republican mayors.
And I'm seeing in the comments people saying blue cities in red states, so they're trying to pin it on blue. Yeah. But it's a red state that created these lax gun laws that allow it to happen. Right.
And by the way, gun crimes are state crimes. They're not city crimes. So blaming the city mayor, yeah, that's ridiculous. Because first of all, the governor of every state, let's say Ron DeSantis or Governor Greg Abbott, they ran a campaign on lowering crime. So if you're the governor of a state and you ran a campaign on lowering crime, then you're responsible for the crime in your state. You don't get to blame the mayor of a Democratic city. You ran on lowering crime. I'm assuming you were talking about the crime in those cities. So it's just an excuse.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you were talking about earlier with Biden dropping out.
Yeah.
I 100% would love to see Biden drop out. I love the guy. I voted for him. I would still vote for him again if that's what our option is. But it's time for him to go. We not only need somebody younger, but we definitely need a more progressive person in the White House that, to Moo's point, is willing to be innovative and be willing to take chances and be the first again. It's getting ridiculous that we're, as progressives, as Democrats, who's supposed to be the progressive party, we are becoming complacent to the status
So
quo.
you mentioned Moo. Do you agree with Moo that housing and food and healthcare should be a right?
Oh, absolutely. I've got a dream myself of being able to create some sort of like tiny home community to help house the homeless. I'd love to do something like that, and I don't think it's unfeasible to do it either. I don't think that the amount of money that our government wastes alone just to fulfill a budget or on military spending that is unnecessary or for mahogany desks in offices, whatever. I mean, that money alone could go towards that kind of stuff. And
But do you believe if housing and food, education, and all this stuff became a birthright, do you see where it might lead some people to stop working and even pursuing the American dream themselves? If you're going to provide me all this stuff for free, I'm good with just this.
I think people would still contribute to society. I think that, yeah, there would be some people that would be lazy and take advantage of it. But I think that it would spur innovation like we haven't seen since the Renaissance.
Wow.
I mean, people... I work 40 hours a week. I'm a union electrician. I come home, I coach sports, I hang out with my family and whatnot. I don't have time for the hobbies that I would like to do. I like woodworking. I like playing the guitar. I like doing all these things, but I don't have time for it. I think it would give people time to pursue their hobbies that could become something more, that could contribute to society.
But if you're doing it this way, wouldn't it remove the primary incentive that people contribute to society now, which is making money? I mean, if money is not, because money would not be as necessary at that point when all of this stuff is given to you for free. So a lot of the things people innovate and create is because they wanted to make money.
But it's the same thing as welfare right now. You've got people that, yes, they can live off the system, but they're not living a life of luxury. They don't have everything that they want. Sure, they've got a nice big TV, but they're still living in a shithole apartment, and they aren't going on vacations every year or anything like that. So you get what you need to survive, and if you want more, then that's your incentive to go out and work for it.
Well, I will tell you this, though. There's a hell of a lot of Americans busting their ass off right now, and they still live in a shithole apartment, can't afford to go on vacation or any of that stuff.
And that's where we were talking about regulations earlier and how apparently those are bad because, you know, EPA it sucks because it doesn't let people pollute, but the corporations are absolutely 100% the reason that inflation is so high. When we've got companies like Exxon and Pepsi and just any major corporation recording record profits right now.
Yeah.
How the hell are we supposed to get by? I mean, there's no
way. That would fundamentally,
and I'm still living paycheck.
Yeah, that would fundamentally change America. The haves would be pissed. I get your point though, and I see in the comments, somebody said I would not even take free food. James Linder, he said, in other words, if we had welfare, he wouldn't even accept it. Would not even take free food. So I don't know if it's feasible. Like I was telling Moo, I don't know if giving away that many cradle-to-grave entitlements would be feasible, but Moo stated, like you mentioned, the military budget and other things as a way that it could be done.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, you had Andrew Yang talking years ago about universal basic income, and he showed how he would pay for it. By, I mean, even just by stuff like capital gains taxes and death taxes and stuff like that, to be able to make it possible. I mean, it's really a drop in the bucket for what it is. And even right now with what we're given for welfare, I mean, people complain about that, but that's nothing in our national budget. I mean, it's basically the right saying, look over here, be mad at these people who are getting this stuff for free. Don't worry about us, the government and corporations that are making it harder for you to live. It's the immigrants' fault, and it's these poor people sucking off the system's fault. It's you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's all bullshit that they feed you to try to keep you from looking in their direction.
There is plenty of that. I got to move it on, Drew. I totally agree. When it goes to being against entitlements or social programs, nobody does that like the right. So I do agree with the right is certainly against most social programs in one way or another. But some crawling on my damn device. But I appreciate you both coming through. Yeah, I got a little ant or something got in the damn car. Appreciate you coming on, though, man.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
All right.
Stay safe.
Thank you. All right, moving the program on. I'm a senior citizen on a fixed income, and I'm not having any problem paying for groceries. Well, it depends on what your fixed income is. I mean, you got people who retired from the military. They're living on a fixed income. Well, they get paid a lot more. I mean, when you say a fixed income, that doesn't necessarily mean you're poor. It just means your income is fixed. You could have a good income that's fixed. That's why they need to be a realistic minimum wage. I do agree with that. I absolutely agree that if you want people to work, as Biden stated once, I think he whispered it. He said the secret to getting people to work is to pay them properly. And I agree with that. I don't know why the right, who was totally against, people living off the system and things like that, also are against minimum wage increase. To me, if you want people to work, you certainly got to pay them right. And by the way, in the right-wing states, the wages are lower. That part I don't understand. I mean, I suppose they got their own explanation for that, but that does not make sense to me. Tap the screen. 80,000 likes is possible. The program is, always will be MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one, always has been, always will be. By the way, if you do enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, I'd implore you to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section or even yours truly. It's all about free speech here. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when we're here, 1,300 hours. Monday through Friday weekdays, free speech always reigns supreme. Harry Shilson, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Now, I saw you in the comments, Harry. What was my last guest getting wrong?
Well, yeah, so it's just like this liberal, open border mindset where it's like we have to make everyone an American citizen, yet the government has to bankroll my entire lifestyle and anything that I want. You got to pick a struggle. It's like, are we going to make every single third world person who's slightly struggling in America an American citizen?
I don't know.
And say, you got to pay for all my shit.
Let me just say this. I don't know. And by the way, I don't know who the hell Harry Shilson is, but apparently, who is Harry Shilson?
It's just it's like a play on words. It's like there's a kid on this app who shills for Biden. His name is Harry Sisson.
Oh, okay.
He's been getting dragged in the media lately for just like after the debate, he's like, yeah, Biden just crushed Trump. It was an absolute victory.
That's another. He's kind of like the NASCAR when the fuck Joe Biden. They thought it was Brandon or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Inflation isn't real. Open borders is good. Diversity is your strength. Take as many vaccines as you want. Biden is the best president ever. Not even top 5. He is the best.
Well, but you do realize there are people that are saying Trump is the best president ever as well, which in my opinion is equally ridiculous. I mean, there are people that are saying that he was better than everybody else.
I mean, he's kind of like an avatar. I kind of see why, not so much that
You don't see Trump as the best president in history, do you?
No.
All right. Just want to make sure we're still on Earth. Okay, just checking. Hey, Biden is by far nowhere near the best president. I don't think Obama was the best president, but I certainly don't see Trump as being that way either. But I know Trump says things like he's done more for blacks than anybody since Abraham Lincoln. So he does do a really good job of selling himself. So in regards to what we were discussing, I agree with you. The cradle to grave in time entitlements would be very difficult to achieve. But in regards to the actual comments, so I'm assuming you do believe that they should take Biden out.
Well, I'm a Trump guy. I think Trump after that debate, I don't know. Do I want the DNC to pick their little puppet and put him in there like a Gretchen Whitmer or a Gavin Newsom? I think that would be disastrous. I mean, these people are...
But let me say something, because you mentioned Trump after the debate. In my opinion, Trump did not win the debate. Biden lost the debate.
Totally.
Yeah, because Trump didn't do well either.
It was very unimpressive.
Trump. Not only was it unimpressive, it was inaccurate. I mean, he was just throwing whatever he could out there. So Biden just did so bad.
Accuracy I'm worried about. My issue is like Biden pretty much went and fell on his face, and we didn't have any like slam dunk moments. Right. Nothing to really clip up and get 100 million views before the election. It's like.
But did you just say? Did you just say you're not concerned with accuracy?
When it comes to winning an election, that's like, I'm not going to sit here and read like statistics from like organizations that tell you why inflation is better under Trump. That's not going to win you an election. Like what's going to win you an election on the debate night is those clippable moments that are going to get played millions of times before the election. We didn't even get any of those. So it's like,
but if your candidate or even the opposing candidate is just making things up, that's irrelevant to you.
They're both doing that. I mean, who's not doing that?
Well, Biden, but you believe that Biden's out of his mind. Trump is the one that's supposed to be sane. Why is he acting like somebody that's allegedly out of their mind?
Well, yeah, I was never the guy that said like Trump was like this linguistic debater that's going to go out here and dismantle the left's arguments, like even as well as someone like, I would, or like a Pat Buchanan that's going to like intellectually get in there and dismantle. He's more of just like, boomer, brute force, let's make some jokes, you're going to go to jail, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but what's the difference between, as you say, brute force and lying? I mean, if the person is not going to go to jail, is that not a lie?
What lie do you have an issue with?
Lock her up, for instance. Was that just a lie, as you say, brute force?
Well, I just think it wasn't the standard of arresting presidents. I think you give him another chance, he will go after these people. At least Biden. I don't know. Clinton's scary. I don't know if I'd go after her.
You make a good point. So you do believe that because you said if you give Trump another chance, he'll go after these people. Give me the names of some people that you think Trump may go after.
Well, I think Hunter would be a good one to go after, just because he's like the puppet for the whole vibe. Or not the puppet, like the mascot. Okay. Like, I don't think Hunter's like pulling anything. Hunter Biden.
Okay, give me somebody else.
I think it would be cool to go after people like the Clintons, people like Larry Fink, but I don't think he's got the balls to do something like that. Yeah. Or like to go after like a Fauci, like we arrested Fauci and put him on trial. That would be cool.
Yeah, the reason I asked you that is because we know Steve Bannon reported to jail yesterday, so Steve Bannon's in jail. But he was on this week with George Stephanopoulos. I think Chris Kuntz or one of the other guys was hosting him, but he made it crystal clear that Trump is going to go after people. Now, you can say maybe Steve Bannon doesn't know what he's talking about, but Steve Bannon is like Trump's main advisor. He mentioned Fauci. He certainly said General Milley will be investigated. He mentioned James Comey.
I like that.
Yeah.
Milley, I think William Barr, the FBI guy.
He said Barr. He did say Barr will be investigated. It's crazy because Barr not only served on his administration. Barr is one of the few people in his administration that endorsed him for president again, and he's promised to investigate the guy. I mean, it's crazy.
I don't trust a lot of these people as far as you control him. Barr, I mean, he was all mobbed up with the Epstein group. I mean, Barr told the Congress, he's like, we can't go after Epstein. He's intelligent. Stay away. Mean, this is not some guy who's on our team.
So do you think that America, you think this would be beneficial to America if he go after all of his adversaries like this?
Well, yeah, that's what I want to see is like the retribution, Trump come back like a phoenix from the ashes and just start breathing fire on all these organizations that wronged him. Go after these 3-letter organizations, go after the EPA, like anyone that's just, these oligarchs, the Department of Education, all this junk that's been destroying our nation. Rotting us from the core.
So it sounds as though you kind of want a scorched earth presidency.
Yeah, 100%. I'm of the view that like America, we're not even gonna have a country in like 25 years. So like we need a radical to come in there and shake it up and change the trajectory of our country. We're not even gonna have one in 25 years.
Now we've talked. You and I have talked several times, and so I know this is actually in line with what you're saying. Because a lot of people think you're trolling, but no, you actually believe this. But at the end of the day, you don't see where this can divide the country at all.
Well, the division. I mean, I think we have such massive problems. If you want like unity and the happy-go-lucky, vote for the government. Go vote for the Democrats. They're the one that control the institutions, the media organizations, the Fortune 500 companies. You want status quo? Yeah, I'd probably go for them. But if you want to shake something up, you want to go after these people who are the ruling class. We have it's pretty much you just have like a serf class, and then you have the ruling class. If you want to go after the ruling class, I mean, the ruling class, billionaires, they all support the Democrats. The Fortune 500 are overwhelmingly progressive. They're globalists. I mean, it's pretty simple. Actually. I'm just voting the opposite of what they don't want.
So you want Trump to potentially go after the globalists like the George Soros and you want him to go after those folks?
Yeah, people like who aren't. I want Trump, when he went on stage for the first time in 2016, I think after he won the election, during the inauguration, it was,
okay.
America first will be our credo, not this Ukraine shit, this Israel first stuff. We want America first to be our credo. And I think that's, even if Trump doesn't show that, that's what we're getting from the America first MAGA base. Like, that's the closest thing to it.
Well, let me,
sure, he's perfect.
And by the way, folks, not to sound like Trump on a phone call with Governor Kemp of Georgia, but I need you to find me 90,000 likes. Tap the screen, I need you to find me 90,000 likes. Y'all can make that happen. Same on YouTube, 120 if you will. We certainly got hundreds of you folks in here. So when liberals and Democrats and never Trumpers suggest that they don't want Trump back because he'll be a vengeful president, you're actually saying that probably is correct, or at the very least it's something like you want to happen.
100%. When people like your Moo buddy comes in here and he's like, he's gonna be so radical, he's gonna go after the immigrants, and it's not even gonna be, everyone's gonna be like, I wish he was a quarter as radical as these people make him out to be.
Wow.
And like, because then we would have something, then we're cooking with a little bit of fire. Because recently Trump has been bland, he's been very neoconservative. Like, I want that 2016 energy where it's like America first, not globalism. Like, that stuff where he's like, we're going to go after these people.
So how do you, now you mentioned globalists and things like that. How do you feel about forcing Christianity in schools?
Oh, yeah, I'm like totally for that.
Why?
Yeah, we live in a Christian nation founded by Christians. The whole idea that like America isn't a Christian nation, it's like that's just a fucking lie. In the Federalist Papers, the Supreme Court actually decided, there's a case on this, I forget who sued them, but even when they dissented from the Supreme Court, the justices said, yes, the United States is a Christian nation. There are elements of Christianity that are rooted in our foundation. This is just 100% a truth. So I think Christianity in the schools is good. Way better than any sort of transgenderism or black DEI, like, anti-white hatred.
You got a few fans in the crowd. I see Red Jungle says I'm with him. So if someone if a Muslim child is in the classroom and they don't want to read this stuff, should they have the right to refuse it, even though it's part of the curriculum? Should the Muslim child have a right to refuse to partake in the requirement that they learn the Bible?
Well, I'm not for it. Like, I'm also for destroying the Department of Education because I think that stuff is disgusting too. So I don't know about the whole curriculum stuff. And I mean, sure, we can tolerate non-Christians in this country, but this is a Christian nation and we're going to be run. Like, I think it should be run by Christians. So this whole like, well, I'm a Muslim or well, I'm Jewish. How does this affect me? It's like, well, this is a Christian nation that should be run by Christians with Christian morals. We can tolerate you.
So what are you saying? No non-Christians in government? You said the country should be ran by Christians. What if?
I think majority Christians, like we can accept, a few here and there, but like if we're going to have our country ran by foreign entities like a Jewish supremacy government like we have now, or like
so you want a Christian supremacy?
Like
you want a government? You want a government operating under Christian supremacy?
Not so much supremacy, just like American values. Like I want to be America first, like not Israel first, not Mexico
wait. You really think American values of capitalism and greed has anything to do with Christianity? I mean, we were. No,
I'm not a capitalist. I'm for heavily restricting capitalism if it means we have a moral nation. So I don't care about big government. I don't care about capitalism. I want first things first. I want a moral nation, no degeneracy. I want it to be America first. If that's
if you want a moral nation and you want it to be, run by Christians, sound like you would agree with Moo that people are given housing. This is what God would do. God wouldn't have homeless people in the kingdom. I'm not trying to get into heaven to sleep in a fucking box. I would assume when I get to heaven, I don't have to work for that stuff. So if you want a Christian nation, all of the things that Moo mentioned should be included in that, right?
No. Christianity, that's a psyop that Christianity is like this inclusive ideology. No. Christianity, it's tough, it's rigid, it's not the stuff that you see online with like these gay pastors and shit, but the real Christianity from like, thousands of years ago when the Renaissance and when the empire was changing and Rome turned from a pagan empire to a Christian empire, like these were hardcore strong men with strong values that would never accept a foreign entity to take over their nation or foreign invaders to come in and tell them what they're going to do. These people stand on morals. They have values. They love their nation. They love their people.
Too bad the Native Americans weren't taught that, huh?
No. I'm for colonialism. I think the Native Americans were like, what, you want like Aztecs ripping your heart out and eating it? Like, that's fucking wild. I mean, like, there are people that just, I think morality should be imposed,
I got a lot of folks. Let me ask you this. And this if it's insulting, you don't have to answer the damn question. It's all about free speech here. Hell, you can even tell me if it is. And I don't mind you saying how you feel about this, because the comments are loaded with folks saying that you're everything from a white supremacist on down. You don't believe in whites being a supreme race, do you?
No, I don't believe it. Like, I think everyone has like a soul, and like if you want to talk about like supreme races, like what would be supreme? Like Asians on average have a higher IQ than white people. Okay. So
I just wondering, because everybody in the comments is interpreting that way.
Anytime there's a white guy who doesn't hate his own race or hate his own country or hate his ancestors, he's a white supremacist Nazi. I don't fucking call me all the names you want. I don't care. I mean, I'm not gonna I'll play into it a little bit, but.
Fair enough. Like I said, it's all about free speech. It's all about free speech. I just wanted to get your opinion on it. You're welcome back anytime. I got it. I got to move it on.
Before I drop, I think you should watch the Piers Morgan episode with Harry Sisson that came out a few days ago. It was mega popular, went all over the internet. You should type that.
I will watch that. I like Morgan. I like Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan. That was a really good episode. It was about a 15-minute panel with Harry Sisson. You could find it on X.
I'll look it up. I appreciate that. Come on back.
One more thing. Have you said who you endorsed yet? I kind of feel like you might be going to the voting booth, and you might go in there and you might press that Trump button. What's going on there?
I lean a little bit left. You should hear on the social issues, particularly. I am frightened that Trump has suggested that he would give police immunity from prosecution. I don't know what the fuck to do with that. Hopefully he's laughing or making it up as a joke or whatever, but why any president would suggest that police would be respected and given their power back if they receive immunity from prosecution? That shit's scary to me because I'm on the road all damn day. I don't want to encounter police with immunity. I'm frightened. And Trump has not clarified what the hell that meant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of I'm like here and there on the police. It's like, I think the police are like assholes and they
Imagine if they had immunity. Imagine if some of those assholes had immunity.
But on the other hand, some of these communities just don't respect their laws. And I think to have a country, you have to respect the officers.
Ain't nobody going to respect you. Well, so what if
especially in the black community, there's just so much pushback to law enforcement and authority.
But
I mean,
you do
guys
realize
like, following the rules and stuff.
Yeah, but you do realize the history of law enforcement was really designed to treat black people like shit. That's kind of where the founding of police in this country came from, to die if they didn't go back. And then once you had the Jim Crow laws, the police's job was to keep black people in their place. The history between blacks and police is one of oppression. That's why blacks and police don't get along. The whole founding of the police is to treat blacks like shit. It's only stopped in recent times.
Yeah, historically, I'll give it to you. I mean, it's not great, but all these, that doesn't mean that we can't, like, well, they were racist at one time, so I don't have to fucking respect them, or I can just
I agree with you. I agree with you. You should have to respect the police. But at the end of the day, man, my grandmother, my mom, they told me the stories. What am I supposed to do? Ignore everything they told me? Just like the police, if they watch all kinds of crime happening in Chicago, or they see, Fox News where blacks are on TV doing all kinds of bad shit, you think they ignore it? So what am I'm supposed to ignore bad police, but they don't ignore bad? What are you saying?
I don't think black people need to love the police or just love the institution, but I think they just need to respect it and understand that to have a country, you need to respect these systems of power, or else we don't have one, right?
I don't disagree with that.
The Summer of Love, stealing all this shit because white supremacy and shit. No,
and you believe giving them immunity could achieve that?
I mean, it's. You see some of these guys, and it's like, I don't know if you should be throwing these guys in jail. It's a tough job. It's like,
I mean, but you're still not quite answering the question. Do you believe giving the police immunity would lead to black people respecting them?
I think there should be 100% qualified immunity.
Don't they already have qualified immunity?
That's a good question. I think it's state to state.
Right. So the question is, what extra powers is Trump promising in them? Because they already have some form of immunity. So when he says, I think police need immunity to get their powers and respect back, he's clearly talking about giving them more power than they have now. And he's not explaining it. That is where I'm really frightened. I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it should be more area to area. If you live in an area that isn't ridden with if that isn't a fucking war zone,
I think it needs to be clarified. That's the point. Whatever the hell he's talking about, it needs to be clarified. Otherwise, it sounds Gestapo-like. By the way, and I'm sure you agree with this, he's promising the largest deportation in U.S. history. Having police that have immunity would really make that easy to do.
Yeah, so maybe if it's just for a period of time, I think maybe
once again
roll back. The city's a fucking third world nation now. It's like these people are attacking people, raping them under bridges. This shit is fucking. You're living in Angola or Haiti at this point.
But then it goes back to my point. I mean, if he want to say it's because it is, or it's because of a period of time, or he's not saying any of that. He just said, I want to give police immunity from prosecution because it'll give them their power and respect back. So I don't know what the hell that means. I mean, I'm baffled.
Yeah.
What is that?
For me, I think the cities need to be great. We want to be the best country in the world. We should have the best cities, and it can't be ridden with third world crime, all this disgusting garbage, attacking people. It has to be safe for one, commerce, and two, people to live. And that's not happening. Hey, that's not happening in any of these cities.
I think your dog is smelling bullshit. Let me say this: North Korea has some of the safest cities on the planet. There's not a lot of crime happening in North Korea. You said you want to have a great city. That don't mean the country's great. Nobody's getting shot at. There's no drive-bys happening in North Korea. You want to pattern yourself after that?
No, I'd go more after the Saudi Arabia, Japan style, where I can leave my Bugatti keys on top of the Bugatti, or $100K cash on top of my car. Go to the gym, come back from the gym, and my Bugatti and 100K are still sitting there. Because you know what will happen? They'll fucking cut your arm off if you take it.
All right, so what do you want to do next? You want to drive around the hood and ask homeless people for change for 100? You just being an asshole. I gotta move it on though, man. I appreciate you coming through. Always open to you. Appreciate it. Going back to the box, and as I say, folks, when we say free speech, when we say we go left of Bernie Sanders from having dinner with QAnon, we do believe in all opinions getting a fair shake. Now, me and the last guest, we obviously didn't agree on the damn thing, but he's entitled to his right to speak. I've spoken to the gentleman several times, and he's always welcome back. So looking in the comments, he just described Andrew Tate's life. Wow, and Andrew Tate got a lot of male followers. I would submit to you, because folks say, well, you know, blacks are going to support Trump, and a lot of them are. That is the draw, in my opinion, for President Trump, is that he presents the image of an alpha male. I mean, he's had some of the finest women, you know, he has the, you know, fancy properties and things like that. And he is a big draw to men, even black men. Because the black women, I doubt if Trump gets 5%. 5% of the black women vote. Now, the black men, double digits. But the black women, I mean, I say double digits, I mean more than 10%. I'm not saying 20, 30, 40%, but more than 10%. But with the women, you know, banning abortion, all of these alpha men, it's not going to resonate, certainly with African American women. There are a lot of blacks on social media pages and things like that saying that they support Trump. Fair enough. Very few of them are women. Very few black women, other than the likes of Candace Owens. I think she's probably the most well-known female black that's conservative. But yeah, you don't see a lot of black women supporting Trump. It's generally the men. I don't know about the Hispanic women because there's so many different, a lot more cultures. But at the end of it, we'll see. But I don't believe the black women are going to ride with Trump at all. Looking in the comments, I'm black and he definitely will not get my vote, says Jay Berg. All right. I've seen many African American women on here that are huge Trump supporters. Maybe your definition of many is, you know, I've had some chicks tell me dudes with 3 inches think they packing heat. I don't know what your definition of many is, but I will tell you this. I've been doing this for 3+ years. I go into MAGA forums. Certainly African-American, MAGA, Republican debate forum. Most of you folks who follow the program have saw me there. Very few African-American females that support Trump. I've been doing this for several years. Very few. So your many may be different than my many. That's what I'm saying. Your many may have a different opinion of what many is, because it's my For You page. I get nothing but recommendations from TikTok, from YouTube, from Facebook of blacks, whites, Hispanics that are voting Republican. I mean, most of the media I absorb is right-wing media. There's not a lot of black females rolling with Trump. I'm just telling you. People who vote for Biden do not like America, period. You know, in regards to the idea that Democrats don't like America or some of this other stuff, look, you're entitled to your opinion. I mean, a lot of folks would see MAGA going into the Capitol building on January 6th, threatening to murder the vice president, taking down the American flag and putting up the Trump flag at the U.S. Capitol. Does that represent love for America? What say you? I mean, so you know, there's plenty of anti-American shit happening on both sides of the aisle. And there's no way in hell you're going to tell me Democrats don't like America, but you're okay with that. Now, I know we honor a hell of a lot of Confederates. The statues are all over the South. Those folks wanted to break America in half. If you're talking about not liking America, I don't see how you could honor folks who wanted to break the country in half and say that that's patriotic. I know a lot of folks believe that if you like General Lee or Stonewall Jackson or Sam Houston and you got the flag in your house and all that, that's patriotic. But at the end of the day, those folks that wanted to secede from America, that's not patriotism. You wanted to break the country up in half. And they tried to assassinate Abraham Lincoln. That's what happened. So I don't see how all of a sudden the liberals hate America, but all of this stuff is patriotism and love of country. They tried to break the country in half and is responsible for more Americans being murdered than any other war or conflict we've ever had, because at the end of the day, it was a civil war. Both sides were American. I don't see how that could be patriotic. But some dude that takes a knee while the song is playing, he's the one that hate America. But the guy who wanted to break the country in half, he's the patriot. I don't get it. Looking in the comments, are you a American or a far right Confederate? I'm certainly not a far right Confederate. That would be like literally, what they call it, fighting for your own worst interest. I mean, fact is, if the Confederates had won the war, it wasn't like they were going to start all of a sudden treating blacks great with respect. So no, that makes no sense to me. Delusional people on here. So are you a Trump fan? Fan and supporter are different terms. Continuing on with the program, though, fan or we'll try with my other subscriber. I'll give my subscribers first dig. Top Dog. Are you there this time? I don't know okay, can you hear me? Are you there? Now I get Makara. What did I bring up? What the hell? All right, I'm doing.
Hey, I don't know how I got on so fast, but they accepted it live, so I went on and.
I didn't even hit anything.
You can kick me off, bro, and get someone else on here if you need.
All right, I'm moving on. You can come back. I'm moving on. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I didn't even do that. I was trying to bring up Top Dog in the comments, one of my subscribers, and I don't know what the hell happened. We'll try it again. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Top Dog, good afternoon.
What's going on, Tim?
We're talking about getting rid of Biden by force. What say you?
Nah, I don't think so, because you still got a lot of people that support Biden that would not, will be against it. Yeah. So, I mean, you got some people will, but you got a lot of people that still support Biden. It's gonna, it'll definitely be a divided party.
The question is, and I do agree with you, but the weird thing is I haven't talked to one person on the left, and they're all voting for Biden, but I'm going to ask them the simple question. Do you feel confident that Biden can complete 4 more years? They all say no. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it make a lot of sense, because we don't want Trump in office. So we're gonna roll with Biden if he's on his deathbed.
So we're not voting for Biden. We're voting Trump out.
For sure. Okay. Anti-Trump, for sure. I think that's a lot of votes. Even maybe in 2020, that probably was a lot of the votes, was anti-Trump.
I agree, but this kind of sounds like the definition of Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, because we're not even voting for our candidate. We just voting for anybody we think can get this. Being from Chicago, we don't like the Packers, so we always say my favorite team is the Bears, and anybody that plays the Packers, that's what this sounds like. Anybody that runs against Trump.
Well, I mean, you probably could use that Trump derangement syndrome if Trump was an angel. If you do everything right, bringing America, and we just hated Trump. No, we got people have the reason why they hate Trump, why they do not like Trump. The way he carries himself, his mouth, his racism, the way he's trying to go far right with the police. He's ducking and dodging these criminal cases, getting away, getting slapped on the wrist. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I will say when Trump came on the scene back in 2015 and he said, if you elect me, you're going to get tired of winning. I'm starting to see what he means now, because he's tore the courts apart. He may get to appoint 2 more Supreme Court justices, which will grant victories to the right for the rest of our lives. The man is doing really good shit for people on the right side of the aisle.
Well, like they say, a cat has 9 lives.
Yeah.
Cat has 9 lives, but it's going to come to an end one day. He's getting lucky, he's ducking and dodging, getting lucky, getting slapping on the wrist. He's getting lucky, but it's going to run out.
Well, it doesn't matter if it runs out. If he replaces Alito and Clarence Thomas with 2 young justices, I mean, he could be murdered. Just like Martin Luther King, his legacy will live on. If he puts it, and I don't want to compare Trump to Martin Luther King. Let me not get crazy. But what I'm saying is that, I don't want people that the fuck. I get it. That is not a good comparison. But what I'm saying though is his legacy. If he is able to walk away saying that I appointed at least 5 justices. I mean, he already got 3. If he gets reelected, I think it's fairly certain he'll get Alito and Thomas. Sotomayor and Roberts are 69. Sotomayor would probably rather pull a Ruth Bader Ginsburg than let Trump replace her. But Roberts is a Republican. So he may end up with anywhere between 5, 6 appointees. even if they take him out, that lives on for a long time, top dog. So.
Well, when I say about 9 lives, I mean, I want to make it clear. I'm talking about nothing physically happened to Trump. I'm not talking that.
Right,
lane.
right.
What I mean by 9 lives, he gets through all this and then lose the election.
Okay. So do you
yeah.
feel confident that Biden can take Trump out by victory?
Man, I'm confident I'm going to get. I'm not going to say I'm 100%. No, I can't say that because a lot of people that debate. Biden's supporters, the ones that are going to ride with him, they're going to ride with him. But it was the ones that's on the fence that I'm scared of.
Yeah.
The independents, the people that was, I don't know, I don't know which way I want to go. And, Biden, what's crazy about Biden, what I don't understand, they show videos him after the debate. He was happy-go-lucky. The next day at the rally, he was happy-go-lucky. So my thing is, what the hell happened the night before?
It makes it almost look like either he's not good at handling pressure because he wasn't under any pressure at the after party, or he might be on some type of drugs that wore off and had a different. I mean, these are conspiracies that's coming out. But you mentioned Trump and you said something about racism. I got several folks. Mikey L on YouTube saying the racist line is the funniest one. I got somebody from Florida with a different name font said he isn't racist. A lot of folks are suggesting that Trump is not a racist, and you're way out of line with that. What makes you say he's a racist?
Well, I mean, I'm not for sure, but I'm more likely those people that saying that they're probably white. So when you're white and you believe in Trump, you don't believe nothing that he's saying is racism. If you believe how he feel, or if you come from where he come from, or you even think somewhere like a Gen X. Gen X, he believes what Trump's saying is golden. So if you coming from his background or his train of thought, yeah, you don't see nothing that he say is racist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like supporters of like a deep Muslim cleric or something like that. His people don't think he's racist, but he's obviously racist.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. People Trump have showed his character multiple times. People try to throw it away like it doesn't. They don't see it. They see it. They might not admit it publicly, but they know what type of person he is.
Yeah. I had a guest on earlier that suggested that since Trump came on the scene, people have felt out and open to be doing this stuff. Have you seen like a rise in people, being bigoted or stereotypical or prejudiced out in the open? Have you seen, because some said Obama is the one that brought this stuff out. Have you seen any change since Trump or Obama came on the scene?
I'm out here in Oklahoma, so in a red state all the way across. We got 77 counties, and sometimes
you guys are the ones that are forcing the Bible now, ain't you?
Well, I'm not, but they are.
Yeah, your school. Yeah. You have any kids in school?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Check this out, Tim. My young, I got 4 kids between 16 and 21. My youngest, he's 16 and he stayed. He's a military baby. He's staying down right now. He's been up here for like about 3-4 years, but he's back down in Louisiana with his mom. Okay. And that gun law scares me because he infatuated with guns. He don't know nothing about them, but he loves them.
Wow.
He already said it. I could be 18 to get a handgun, which when he said it, I was like, I didn't believe him until I did my research. I'm like, wow, he's not lying. I think that's a bad
So as a father, as a parent to the child, you personally realize my child is not necessarily mature enough to be able to get a gun, but the law is going to will likely give him one anyway.
For sure, Tim. My son, I went on his Snapchat about a year ago, Instagram, and he got AR-15s all across. You know what I mean? And we've talked to him, we prayed with him, we sat down with him, I've yelled at him. Anything you say a parent should do to turn him away from guns, hey, he loves them, and he can't wait. He's 16 and a half now. He can't wait till he turn 18. And he don't know shit about guns.
Wow. Now I wonder, can you he obviously has no criminal record or anything. So even if you went to the government and told them, I don't think my son is the right person to be, I don't think they could do anything. I think they would still have to give him a gun. And what would be crazy is, and I'm just saying this, I don't want to, paint any bad juju on your child, but if you're at a mass casualty event that your child, I told them he was not mature enough for this. And they wouldn't listen. It's crazy because I'm assuming that could actually happen.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Well, we pray it don't happen, but you know, the way they love about those guns, I'm just one small person saying that, because you got the masses that's saying it's okay. Even if I went down there praying and all that, they still would let him get a gun because they're gonna say he's 18, he doesn't have a record. We hear you, you know what I mean? We hear you, but you know, according to our laws, he can do it.
Wow.
You know?
Well, hopefully I'm not very religious, but this is one of the times I'll say hopefully your prayers is answered and he becomes a responsible gun owner. But that's crazy that the parent is telling you ahead of time, my child ain't mature enough for this. And the parent has to idly sit by while the government hands their kid a gun. I mean, that is insane.
And you know, what I didn't understand about Louisiana, you know, in the past 20 years, they've had some of the most, you know, homicides by capital, or just been the murder capital of the world. I mean, the United States, I'm not going to say the world, but the United States. And y'all even pushing for that law. I mean, it's crazy to me. Yeah. It's real mind blowing.
Baton Rouge and Louisiana are incredibly violent. Now, I know my MAGA side is going to point out skin color in politics, but yeah, Baton Rouge and Louisiana is incredibly violent. I don't know what people expect this law to. I mean, I'm with you. At 18, I wasn't responsible enough to have a gun. I just wasn't. I mean, I know people personally that I had issues with that I probably would have shot if I had access to a firearm. So I don't think the maturity level is there.
No, it's not there at all. You know, and I own a couple firearms, so it's not like I'm anti firearms. No, I was military. I agree we should be able to bear arms, but certain ages for those type of guns, no, I don't see it. And I'm dealing with from experience with my own child, and he's not ready. You know what I mean? He's not ready. He got a lot of immaturity, but he said when I turned 18, I can go buy one legal. I was just like, it blew my mind. You know?
Just telling you ahead of time. Wow. All right, Top Dog. That's kind of funny. Hopefully nothing bad happens. I don't want to have this conversation on the wrong side, but man, that's crazy that you know ahead of time and ain't nothing you can do about it. Appreciate you coming on, though, man.
Thank you, Tim.
Wow, that's scary. All right, moving the program on, and I'm sure there are going to be moms or dads that come out at the scene of one of these events saying, I told them that this boy got problems or this girl had problems. And, well, sorry, they're 18. If they want it, they can have it. Keep in mind, folks, other than the hood-type crimes in urban areas, most of the mass casualty events in this country that happen, it happens at the hands of legal gun owners. They were a legal, law-abiding citizen right until they walked into the school or their place of work or the church or the supermarket and started depressing the trigger. Right before that point, they were a law-abiding legal gun owner. That represents most of the folks that are involved in these sensationalized mass casualty events. Now, I'm not talking about hood shootings. That's different. Them are felons generally fighting over drug territory. But I'm talking about people whose goal is to simply take out as many random strangers as they can. That doesn't happen in the hood. The hood violence is not about random strangers. Those folks that want random strangers, they're all generally law-abiding gun owners right up to the point where they start pulling the trigger. So it could be crazy. Looking in the comments, Cricket Cotton Ball says not true. I mean, you can say what you want, but I can give you the cases. Ubalde, that individual owned that gun legally. Mandalay Bay, the largest mass casualty event in American history, that guy legally owned all of those guns. Parkland, Florida, Post Nightclub, Walmart in El Paso, all of those were law-abiding gun owners. What are you talking about? Okay, fair enough. Kyle Rittenhouse is poor. I don't know where Kyle Rittenhouse is coming into this. MAGA people are too far gone. It has to be war. It has to be a war they react to. Wait a minute. MAGA people are too far gone. I get that part. It has to be a war. They react to sell United States to China and Russia. Huh? I don't know where you're going with that. Thank you, folks, for tapping the screen. Get your boy on up to about 120,000. We can make that happen. Trump's sentences is pushed back till September. That boy is bad. I'm telling you. I see in the comments, I had heard already that Alvin Bragg, or the DA in New York, where Trump was convicted of 34 felonies, was open to pushing back the sentence date for Trump. Remember, he was supposed to be sentenced on July 11th, was it? Somebody in the comments is saying that has been pushed back. I have not heard that yet, but I kind of believe it because they were already saying that. It's been pushed back until September. I'm just going to tell you, go Trump. Regardless of me not agreeing with Trump's politics, go Trump. I mean, to me, he is literally like Al Capone or Teflon Don or some of these folks. I mean, he is really, really showing how you can win at shit that normally most people don't win at. I mean, ignored all of the gag order, 10 times in contempt. That man is just like, I can't be touched and I don't give a damn. If he can do this as a citizen, damn, he gonna be powerful as a president. I hope I'm on the wrong side of his power, but damn, he is able to do a lot that the average man can't do. I swear to God, if the man opened up his shirt, it might be a letter S on his chest. He's really doing 34 felonies. You have no mugshot in New York, by the way. We're not talking about what Fonnie Willis, and Fonnie Willis' case ain't gonna come to fruition either, but he got arrested in New York with these misdemeanors that were bumped up to a felony. No mugshot, ain't never had a pair of handcuffs on, got found in contempt 10 times, talked about the judge, talked about the judge's daughter, did the same thing to Judge Engeron. I mean, he just treating the system like it ain't shit. Somebody cue up MC Hammer's 1991 hit, Can't Touch This, because it is insane at what this man can do. Wow. It is, I remember when I was going to church as a young man, and one of the more common phrases in church was, ain't no secret what God can do. I'm not trying to put Trump on a pedestal. He's already there. Wow. It is insane how much this guy has been able to navigate his way around the justice system and make them all look like fools. I mean, Fonnie Willis several months ago was celebrating how she got Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and Trump too, got the mugshot and all. Now she's just simply hoping she remains employed. Going after Trump is dangerous for your own longevity. That's why a lot of Republicans stated a lot of things on January 6th and completely changed their mind by January 8th. It's because they realized going after Trump, speaking negatively of Trump, is not good for your own livelihood. It's just not. If Trump gets reelected, most of those people I just mentioned, Fonnie Willis, Judge Engeron with the E. Jean Carroll case, the judge over the Letitia James case, Letitia James herself, all of them people probably gonna have some problems in their life. They all probably are. Wow, that's insane. I see in the comments, MAGA Truth states it properly. One word. You ever see the YouTube and Facebook videos? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da, run. Yeah, if Trump gets reelected, this may be the first time, because everybody said, well, if you elect Biden, if you elect Hillary, if you elect Trump, if you elect Clinton, I'm going to leave America. This may be the first time where it actually happens. I mean, folks like General Milley, General Petraeus, James Comey, this may be the first time where if a person gets elected into office, people actually flee the country. It may actually happen. Everybody, up until now, it's always been something people would say, that's bullshit. You ain't leaving America. I don't feel confident about that in this case. Because some of these folks, like the girl that's on The View, I watch The View a lot. Also, what is the girl's name? I can't think of her name, but she is they got 4 liberals, and she is the Republican on the show. And she used to work for the Trump campaign. She's already made it clear she fears for her life, that, she gets death threats and all of that. She testified against Trump in the January 6th hearings. Not Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne, first of all, was on The Talk, so she wasn't even on The View. I can't think of her name. I can't even think of it. I'm not even going to try to guess, but she's like somewhat, I think she's Arabian or something like, she's really, really pretty girl. Really Melania Trump-like looks. Elisa something. And yeah, she stated that she really fears for her life. Any of those folks, Liz Cheney, What was the other guy? Was it Eric? I can't think the Illinois congressman that was up there that also testified. Yeah, some Ashley Griffin or something like that. Yeah, that's her name. Lisa Griffin or something. Yeah, if Trump gets reelected, those folks, in my humble opinion, it won't be safe for them. It won't be safe for them. I mean, because if something happens to one of them, you think Trump might not be open to a pardon? I mean, he talked about paying the legal fees for beating up protesters. If somebody hated the way Trump was treated by one of these folks, showed up to their house, Nancy Pelosi's husband style, wouldn't surprise me if Trump pardoned him. It wouldn't surprise me. And it would not surprise me if MAGA was in favor of it. Now, I could be wrong. I know a lot of MAGA may disagree, but it wouldn't, I mean, because if you're okay with pardoning some of the January 6th protesters, I mean, taking out Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton, I could see some folks that would be okay with that. So it could be interesting. I'm just going to simply say there's going to be people. This might be the first time in history where people say they're going to lead the country and actually do it. Looking in the comments, Tim has a crush on Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg's like mid to late 60s. I can't do nothing with that, but hey, she worth a lot of money. I might be to close my eyes and hit it once. Let me stop talking. What does it say? Fair for them, fair for him. I don't quite get that. Oh, you're saying if it's fair to go after Trump, it's fair for Trump to go after those folks. I get what you're saying now. But is that something that would benefit the country? If everybody that Trump believes wrongfully went after him, are you okay with Trump taking power and spending his time in office going after all of these people? I've stated before that I didn't believe if Trump gets elected, we'd have a civil war. I stated that if Biden gets elected and Trump and many MAGA are pissed off, you may have some lone wolves, commit some acts of mayhem. If Trump gets reelected, you may have some pissed off feminists, some pro-choice girls or women that may do a few stupid things here or there, but I don't believe it would be a full-blown civil conflict if either Trump or Biden win. But if Trump wins and goes on a revenge tour, yeah, I think you'd have a civil war. You'd have civil unrest because a lot of folks, let's say Trump goes after James Comey, probably would lead to a fracturing of the FBI. A lot of people are going to start resigning. Maybe other FBI feds don't even want to get involved in the investigation or don't want to cooperate. You might even have some rogue agents that help give James Comey a new identity to hide him from Trump. This is when you start dividing the country in half. Same thing with the largest deportation in history. You're going to have a lot of folks that treat immigrants like Anne Frank, hiding them in the attic. I mean, this is when you start dividing the country. Some of Trump's promises, yeah, I could see civil unrest because what did he say? Get a police immunity. So if I think you got immigrants in your home, we can come in without necessarily worried about your Fourth Amendment rights. But I'm speculating, but yeah, going after generals that a lot of folks in the military were willing to put their lives on the line. I'm assuming General Milley and Petraeus and some of these folks promoted a lot of people that owe their careers and things like that to a lot of these. You're going to fracture the military. I don't want to serve under Trump. You're going to start having people saying that kind of stuff. If he can do this, I don't want to serve under him. So now all of a sudden there's military conflicts. Every area where he's talking about doing this stuff, in positions to people in positions of power, yeah, I think that it would really fracture all of these entities. And I see in the comments, Dobby is home says false. You just think the whole country is gonna be cool. Just go after anybody you want. Ain't no kind of resistance. Yeah, okay, all right. I disagree though. I vehemently disagree. It's gonna be like Underground Railroad type of stuff. Yeah, I think that's more likely is what would happen. Is that a lot of Americans that don't agree with what Trump is doing will be secretly doing things to thwart or sabotage his administration and prevent him from doing this stuff. And then, of course, if they're doing that, they're committing federal crime, so now Trump can go after them and so on and so forth. Police may not want to arrest certain people that Trump went after because maybe some of the cops think it's bullshit. I'm just telling you, this is how you fracture a country. is you have all of the facets of government fighting against each other. That's how it starts. I do believe that. Looking in the comments. But other than that, if Trump wins and simply just runs the country in the fashion that he, runs it like a dignified professional, I don't think you'd have a civil war. You'd have people pissed off he won, but I think we'd be okay. But yeah, going on a revenge tour is going to have all sorts of bad consequences. There's just no denying it. It's going to have all sorts of bad consequences. It's definitely a dark road to go down, and unfortunately, Republicans will have to be the bigger man. That's not going to happen. A lot of folks on the right favor. They're pissed off. They believe that Trump was railroaded, treated awful, and they want blood. When Trump says, what did he say? I will be your vengeance or something like that. I'll be your retribution. There was nothing but applause. The right wants that. They'd love to see Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton in cuffs. Remember the whole phrase, lock her up? Even before Trump was having problems, they were okay with him going after all of these people. They damn sure going to be fine with it now. They were okay with it then. So yeah, it's certainly going to happen. How many folks cheered on, actually applauded what happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband? There was no crying, sad eyes on the right. So yeah, I could see it happening. I really could. Trump supporters lack education. I don't think. You couldn't do what Trump has did without some of them folks being educated. What are your thoughts about the relationship between India and America? Well, I know we view the Pakistanis as enemies, which is also the enemy of India. I don't know a lot more about that nation, but I do know we employ a lot of skilled labor from India as well. So I think our relationship is fairly decent, but I'm going to leave it at that. I'll plead ignorance of some of that. If you can't see the truth of what evil is, you don't believe in God. The country needs God, not this evil people who keep the hate going. It's interesting you would say that, Eileen, that the country needs God and not the evil. I would submit to you there was a time in America when we were far more devoted to Christianity. God was in everything. And during that time, we as a nation was evil as fuck. Everybody was being oppressed, mistreated. We talk about slavery, we can talk about Jim Crow, we can talk about what happened to the Native Americans. All of that happened in a far more religious America than now. Everybody was going to church. Everybody was religious. And look, you talk about evil? We just didn't call it evil. We thought it was prosperity to take the Native Americans and wipe them out, or use the blacks for cheap labor, or keep the woman at home. That's what God wanted us to do. God wanted us to be superior and ruin the lives of every damn body. Now, in 2024, you see evil now? As Cat Williams would say, this shit right here, this is the evil? Out of all of the American timeline, put the American timeline on a graph, starting in 1776 to 2024. Out of that whole timeline, you pick now to say the evil is happening? Really? Okay, that goes against history entirely. Entirely. Now is when it's the most evil, huh? Okay. All right, looking in the comments, white folks were the common denominator of it all, says MXX. All right. I didn't realize you were anti-Christian, says Heather. No, I'm for accountability. I'm for accountability. I'm not going to come on here. And by the way, I was brought up Christian. Yeah, had you asked me when I was a young child what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have said a pastor. I went to not only did I go to church on Sundays, Bible school in the summers and all of that, but I was brought up that Christianity was perfect. Most of the things I'm telling you about now, nobody told us about all this stuff. Certainly didn't tell us that a lot of it was done in the name of Christianity. Didn't come up. A lot of folks have, in this country, we're not talking about overseas, in this country, a lot of folks have actually used Christianity as the reason, as the gateway to commit acts of evil. I wasn't brought up on any of that. So I'm not anti-Christian, but I am a fan of accountability. And I've learned a lot more as an adult than what they taught me as a kid. Is it wrong to question that stuff? This country was far more religious based in the yesteryears than it is now. And you talk about evil. The only difference between then and now is we didn't call it evil then. We look at what's going on in, let's say, urban areas. People going into shops, robbing them. You see black on black crime everywhere. Some of you folks bring up immigrants. What do you think was happening before? It was just all being done by white people. And it was legal, by the way. It was legal. Now all of a sudden it's bad? I just want to point that out. I don't believe Christianity would save us from evil, because I think too much evil was being done when we were very Christian. The Confederates said that slavery was accepted in the Bible. Confederates are coming back reincarnated as North Koreans. I don't know where that's going. I would rather vote for a literal corpse than vote for Trump. Damn. I would rather vote for a straight, foaming at the mouth progressive than Trump. He is that bad. Wow, he's really that bad to you, huh? Learn your history. It wasn't a black and white issue. There were many blacks that owned blacks. If it wasn't a black, listen to your comment. You say learn your history. It wasn't a black and white issue. There were many blacks that owned blacks. Now you say it wasn't a black and white issue. Notice that the only people that are being owned, even according to your comment, are black people. Okay, some blacks own them too, according to you. But at the end of the day, you're making it clear what no white people owned. That's your comment. And then you started it out when it wasn't a racial issue. Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, that's a whitewashed history comment. Yeah. I will just say this. Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on or what you believe about history, Irish slaves and all this other stuff, there were virtually no history books in America up to probably about 1970, maybe even as late as the 1980s, written by African Americans. So when you start talking about, well, the blacks owned slaves and the Irish were worse, why wasn't it in the history books? It ain't like the black people told those stories like that. I mean, why did they write history so inaccurately? If there were so many Irish slaves, why didn't they put it in the history books? Whoever taught us history in this country deliberately lied about a lot of stuff, omitted a lot of stuff. I mean, like I said, it wasn't written by black people. You know, it wasn't like, well, a black person want to make sure they don't tell anybody that they own slaves and they only want to make the white people. No, they didn't write the books. They didn't write the damn books. Why isn't that stuff in there? That's a question to be asked. So maybe it ain't in there for the obvious reason why it might not be in there. So it's odd that all of a sudden in the 2020s, we're suddenly finding out so many black people own slaves, but they deliberately chose to leave that out the books. Huh? Okay. All right. In the 1600s, black plantation owners had black slaves, South Carolina, Virginia, North Carolina. In the 1600s, well, like I said, why is it in the history books? Why wasn't that taught? Now, obviously, the 1600s, we became a nation in 1776. So you're going back before America became a nation. But still, why isn't it in the history books? That speaks volumes to me. Why that's not in the history books. Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but maybe the racism was so strong at the time that we don't even want people to believe that blacks are capable of being in a position of leadership, which is what a slave owner would be. We want people to believe that they're incapable of leading. So even the ones who own slaves, we're going to omit them from history. Remember, because African Americans were not given positions of leadership for quite a while. So maybe the fact that we don't know may have something to do with racism as well. Yep, every race has been a slave at one time or another. I do believe that. But the issue I have with this is you bring up slavery. Well, they had slaves in Egypt. They had slaves in Yemen. They had slaves in the Middle East. You know, America's not the only country to have slaves. They had slaves in Africa, which is all facts. But the point I have is this. When you bring up, let's say, Black Lives Matter, rioting and looting, which they did do a lot of that, different cities. we stick to Black Lives Matter. We don't start talking, well, you know, they were bombing things in Tiananmen Square. You know, you got folks over in Gaza that set fire. No, you stick to Black Lives Matter. But for some reason, when you bring up slavery, all of a sudden you zoom out to everywhere around the world to start. Let's include some more people so it just doesn't look like it's one group of people. I don't know. Look, when we're talking about a subject, that's a diversion. I mean, if you're talking about the American slave trade and suddenly what's happening in, you know, Egypt or something comes into play, it's kind of like a diversion. I don't know. If Trump gets elected, they're going to make Project 2025 their first idea. I'm hearing a lot about Project 2025. It's coming up more and more and more. By way of yes or no in the comments, yes or no, how many of you folks believe that Project 2025 is a real goal, a real intention of people on the right? It's a 900-page document that really portrays directing America in a far, far right direction. But how many of you folks believe it is actually true? That they're actually trying to do that stuff? Wow, there's a lot of yeses. There's a lot of yeses. A couple no's in there, but it's overwhelmingly on TikTok. It's overwhelmingly yes. On YouTube, no, it's a positive direction. Okay, well, Damon believes Project 2025 is real. He just favors it. All right. And Dion Ebert says, what is Project 2025? You will not hear about Project 2025 if you watch right-wing media. It's just not going to be mentioned. It is a behind the scenes collaboration by, you guys always talk about the elite, the globalists, the George Soros. This is the same thing on the right. A behind the scenes plan to just destroy the powers that be in America. Let's say put Trump in, put people who are very loyal to Trump in, and just really turn America to a far right agenda. That's kind of summed up what Project 2025 is to put in a far right government, kind of at the behest of Trump, with Trump at the helm. And we're not talking about politicians. We're talking about loyalists. Like, let's say you put Judge Jeanine Pirro from Fox News on the Supreme Court. Loyalists, people that are putting you above the country, the party, you name it. They are loyal to you. That's what folks are suggesting Project 2025 is. And in the comments, Stand Down Strike for Palestine says, Tim, everything in Project 2025 is happening now under the Democrats. I don't know if that makes sense. You'd have to explain that, and that doesn't even make sense. You'd have to explain it, because Project 2025 is a very far right agenda. Now, I'm assuming you're suggesting that America has went very far to the left, which, once again, with me talking about Louisiana's new gun laws in the Bible, that's not true. I get maybe the border or maybe LGBT issues. That stuff is going further to the left. But now that you got states requiring Christianity, we see what happened with abortion. The country clearly is not going far left. You see what happened now with states passing, gun laws that even 18-year-olds can get them with no training, no permit, nothing. The country is not going far left. That doesn't happen in any far left country on earth. So I don't know if I totally agree with that. Why does the speaker use terms left and right? Because that's what people understand. I'll use Trump, Biden, actual names when they apply as well. Because Trump is, in my opinion, representative of the MAGA party, not necessarily all right. I mean, Trump goes against traditional conservatism a lot. So, such as being a devoted Christian. I don't see Trump being a devoted Christian. However, his policies has been fantastic for folks who are devoted evangelicals. In my opinion, if you are an evangelical and the prophecies of God is your biggest concern when it comes to voting, I don't think there's been a better president than Trump. Certainly with rolling back Roe v. Wade, and now he's getting to the point where you're going to be forcing the teachings of God in schools. What other politician has done that? So even though Trump doesn't go to church, he is doing a lot for those who are religious. So when folks say, Trump ain't done nothing, oh yeah, he has. Trump has done a lot. Not to mention the 3 Supreme Court justices and the potential of appointing 2 more. No other right-wing politician, even Ronald Reagan, has accomplished all of that. So I do believe that for folks on the right, Trump is probably one of the best there has been in a while from that standpoint. There's a lot of things Trump has done, in my opinion, that are wrong, maybe borderline unconstitutional and things like that. But if you're voting based on Christianity, you might not even care about that. If you do, what does that say? If you don't pay taxes, you shouldn't get to vote. It says little fitter. You can't buy anything in America without paying taxes. Even the immigrants are paying taxes. You can't go buy a gallon of milk without some taxes being added on it. So everybody's paying taxes. So what's your point? As long as they keep living, as long as they keep lining his pockets, he'll keep forwarding their agenda. That's what a politician does. And I see him make sense. Shut up. Go please take a nap or something. Damn. Got me feeling like Joe Biden. Being that Biden has king-like powers, according to this corrupt Supreme Court, Biden should send SEAL Team 6 to deal with Trump and all 6 conservative Supreme Court justices. Oh my God. Biden has immunity, so he should send SEAL Team 6 to deal with, no, I don't. Now that would cause civil unrest and civil conflict. That would literally cause it. No, don't do something like that. To me, that's just like the vengeance Trump is planning. I think vengeance is what's going to cause everybody to go haywire in this country. Nevertheless, folks, I do appreciate the 125,000 on the like side of the program. You know what time it is. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. This is where you'll find us. We don't block, ban, or censor. We believe in free speech. You don't have to agree with the host. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You're not going to be censored or limited for your opinions. If you enjoy that type of dialogue, follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday, 1,300 hours is when you'll find us. MAGA Truth says bad talk. Oh my God. Can't win them all, MAGA Truth. Can't win them all. Let's try it again tomorrow. Appreciate you coming. Catch you there. Bad talk. Wow. How come my thing says 143 likes? That's the likes on TikTok are way more, because I don't, on YouTube, only a person can only like once. On TikTok, you can keep hitting it over and over again. So that's why the likes on YouTube will always be substantially less than on TikTok. But I do appreciate you asking. Greatest show I ever heard, right here. You just written it. Eric Nearing, thank you. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the accolade. You're always welcome on the show anytime. Come on through. You don't have to agree with the host. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. 1 p.m. Central. Catch you tomorrow.